What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 13 LS. Chapter 301. The Ant Who Ran Away in Embarrassment Again. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 894. 224. 298. Who. After Chushui finished speaking, the gust of wind around her body became stronger and stronger, blowing the clothes of the two people in the air, and the aura on her body became stronger and stronger. After Fushui saw Moran not far away, rushing over here, she didn't rush up to fight Big Mom, but stopped Big Mom in front of her to prevent her from getting close to the pirate ship. The ant was still looking at Fushui with a sarcastic face, but when she felt Fushui's growing aura, her complexion suddenly darkened. The girl on the boat was able to catch her sword energy just now, and now a girl who is not weaker than her comes out. How many strong people are there in the Fangzhou pirates? At this time, the ant couldn't help but think of what Moran said, saying that there are 4 or 5 crew members on his ship who can compete with her. Judging from the current situation, Moran doesn't seem to have lied to her. When the ant thought that there were so many strong men in the Wanjian pirates, she just received the news that all her sons had died. Although she was furious, she didn't fully believe it. But now she can be sure that all her sons are dead, because she knows exactly how much her sons are, and they are no match for these people at all. 230. Thinking of the ant here, she said with a gloomy face, "You have so many strong people, but you have never shown yourself. You Wanjian pirate Danzo are really deep." Seeing that the ant didn't do anything, Chushui was also happy and leisurely, so she directly retorted, "Our Wanjian pirates have never hidden, and have always sailed on the sea with our true colors. You don't know our strength, it's just your strength. It's not enough, it's not worth fighting with all our strength." What Chushui said is right, their Wanjian pirates have never deliberately hidden, but there is no one force worthy of their all-out attack, which gave Big Mom the illusion that the Wanjian pirates are deliberately hiding. Clap. At this time, Moran transformed into lightning, and several flashes appeared beside Fubuki, and then the lightning suspended in the air slowly changed into Moran's appearance. Seeing Moran beside him, Fubuki asked, "Master Moran, do you need our help to deal with her?" Although Moran wanted to go back and continue salting fish, he didn't want them to help, so he directly refused. "It's unnecessary to help. Yes, CBAJ, pay her and I can do it alone. You drive the boat a little farther away, our Battle Nabo boat can't hold it. Although his boat is made of the best wood, it is still wood in the final analysis. If the boat gets too close, the aftermath or leaked sword slash can be declared retired as long as it touches the boat." Fubuki. "I know." After Fubuki agreed, he slowly landed back on the pirate ship, and then explained the situation to everyone on the pirate ship. After everyone on the pirate ship knew what Moran meant, they didn't continue to delay here, but quickly controlled the ship to leave here. After Moran saw that the pirate ship had left for a certain distance, he looked at Big Mom and said, "Our battle is not over yet, let's continue the unfinished battle." Well. Ant let out another burst of unique laughter, but although she was laughing, her face was as black as ashes at the bottom of a pot. She laughed for a while before she said, "Dragon Emperor Moran boy, don't think that I will be afraid of you, today I will let me tell you what a pirate is." Weo. After the ant finished speaking, she raised the big sword above her head, and then she slashed in Moran's direction, and a huge circular shockwave of sword energy appeared, and directly slashed at Moran. Slash the immortal with one blow. Moran's eyes flashed red. Conquerors and armament hockey all entangled on the black knife, slashed at Big Mom fiercely, and a slash of tens of meters with lightning quickly flew towards Big Mom. Bump. Boom. Rumbling. After the sword chi and slashing stalemate in the air for a while, they exploded, and circles of typhoon-like air waves spread around. Before the sky calmed down, the two rushed towards each other quickly. The speed of both of them was very fast, like 2 bolts of lightning flashing across the sky. Clang. Boom. Rumbling. The swords of Moran and the ant collided half a meter apart and stood in a stalemate for a while, then there was a loud bang, and a black and reddish wave rushed out from the two of them as the center, accompanied by an earth-shattering bang, and the sound of violent explosions was heard endlessly. Strips of black lightning danced unscrupulously in the air. Big Mom and Moran just stood in a stalemate for a while, accompanied by the earth-shaking huge waves, and the recoil at the time of the collision. They were all blown upside down and flew tens of meters away. Big Mom was sent flying tens of meters away. After stabilizing her figure, she took a deep look at Moran, as if she wanted to engrave him in her mind, and then rushed back towards Saolan's opposite. She just learned that her sons were all dead, and she originally wanted to avenge them, and then started to leave here. But after she felt Fubuki and Arturia's aura, she directly gave up the idea of revenge, otherwise she would probably be left here today. In the eyes of the ant, the son can live on after death, but everything is over when she dies, so she chose to run away without hesitation. While running away, the ant said harshly without looking back, "Dragon Emperor Moran and the members of the Wanjian pirates, you are all waiting for me, I will definitely come back to take revenge on you, you just clean up wait for the old lady to kill you." As soon as Moran stabilized his figure, he saw the ant who was running away, and then heard the ruthless words of the ant who was mentally retarded. Moran looked at the ant who was running away in a panic, and complained speechlessly, "This fat woman's IQ is really beyond words." But Moran doesn't intend to just let ant off like this, he can come and go whenever he wants. What kind of place do these people think of his place? His place is not a hotel, but a dragon's pond and a tiger's den. Even if she can't be killed, she must lose her skin, otherwise no matter what kind of cat or dog it is, they will dare to ride on his head to shit and pee. Moran also knows that it is very difficult to keep a top fighter who can fly, but how will you know if you don't try? And the ant is just riding on the thundercloud, as long as she can be knocked down, there will be the sea below, there is still hope to keep her. Chapter 302, Rinnegan of Moran. Thinking of Moran here, the eyes began to slowly turn purple, and as circles appeared in the eyes, a tomo appeared in the pupil, and the guyu seemed to hang on the circles in the eyes. This is the Rinnegan that Mord got in the lottery. The color is the same purple as Uchiha Madara, but unlike Uchiha Madara, there are 9 tomo in his pupils. His Rinnegan belongs to the most perfect Rinnegan. Since he got Rinnegan in the lottery, this is the first time he has used it, mainly because the enemies he encountered before are not worth his efforts, so he has never had the opportunity to use it. Try this pair of Sharingan today. Thinking of this, Moran slowly raised his hand, aimed at the direction where Big Mom was running away, and directly activated Rinnegan's ability. 120. Universal Pull. The ant who hadn't flown far, suddenly felt an irresistible gravitational force, pulled her back directly, and shouted in panic, "What's going on?" Big Mom tried to struggle for a while, but when she found that she couldn't break free from this gravitational force, she turned around and turned passive into active. She raised her big sword and swooped down towards Moran. In an instant, she came to the sky above Moran, and slashed fiercely with her sword. Go down. Moran didn't take a knife to resist, but still put one palm in front of his body, maintaining the gesture of launching Universal Pull. When Big Mom's sword was about to hit him, he directly changed his ability. Shenluo Tianzheng. Bump. Boom. Rumbling. When the ant was about to hit Moran, she was thrown backwards without warning, and her big sword seemed to hit an invisible iron wall, and was bounced back directly. Moran saw that Big Mom was separated from Leian, and knew that this was an opportunity, so he activated Rinnegan's ability again without hesitation. Universal Pull. But this time, what he sucked in was not Big Mom, but her thunderclouds. As long as there were no thunderclouds, Yinma would not be able to continue flying in the sky. Pat. Moran saw the thundercloud flying towards him, grabbed it, and slipped it into his hands. Thundercloud Zeus was held in Moran's hand. No matter how much it twisted and struggled, it couldn't break free from Moran's big hand, so it could only shout, "You be asterisk 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 D, let me go, I'm going to save you." Moran glared at it viciously, and then directly threatened, "You try to move around. Believe it or not, I will kill you." When Leian Zeus heard this, he immediately calmed down. He looked like a good baby, and he didn't dare to resist at all. Moran saw that it finally calmed down, so he didn't continue to care about it, but looked in the direction of the ant, and saw that she was falling into the sea, and she was getting closer and closer to the sea. Moran doesn't know if Big Mom will be drowned by seawater, but her defense is too perverted, and she can't be killed in a short time, so I can only use this method, let her soak in the sea, and it would be best if she dies, if he can't die, he has nothing to lose, right? Seeing that she was getting closer and closer to the sea, the ant was sweating profusely. She is a demon fruit power. If she really fell, it would be a near death. If she could be washed to a nearby island by the sea, she might survive, otherwise she would have to die in the sea. Thinking of the ant here, she yelled at Kaido, who was fighting the tornado not far away, and was in full swing, "Mrs. Kaido is about to die, why are you still beating me over there? Call the doctor to save me." Kaido has never been able to get close to the tornado, and he was bounced away by the tornado's ability as soon as he got close, causing him to have no strength but nowhere to use it, and the tornado has been walking all over the sky like a dog. I was already furious by the tornado, but now when I heard what my aunt said, I was so angry that I yelled, "Is it the lousy bird's business whether you die or not?" When the ant heard what Kaido said, she almost didn't die from his anger. Her face was as black as ashes at the bottom of the pot and she yelled, "Kaido, did your alarm clock get flooded again? We are allies now, and I will die next. It's UB asterisk 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 D." Bump. Kaido wanted to get close to the tornado again, but was sent flying by the tornado again, and shouted cursingly, "Lousy doesn't want to live a long time ago, wouldn't it be better if they could kill Lousy?" Kaido said that even though he said so, he gave up attacking the tornado, turned around and flew directly in the direction of Big Mom. Although he often talked about death, but he was just talking, he didn't want to really die. Moran saw Kaido rushing over, how could he let him succeed? He directly raised his palm and aimed at Kaido to launch the Rinnegan ability. Universal Pull. Kaido's huge dragon body flew towards Moran uncontrollably. No matter how hard he struggled, it was useless, and he flew towards Moran quickly. Kaido turned around and looked in Moran's direction, the gravitational force came from Moran's side, it must be the ghost of this guy. Thinking of this, Kaido immediately gave up resisting, and while flying towards Moran, he asked, "What's the matter with your ability?" Moran didn't answer Kaido's words, but when Kaido came in front of him, he directly cancelled the ability. With his free right hand, he drew out the knife and raised the black knife in his hand. He slashed hard. Kaido was flying uncontrollably, unable to make any effective resistance at all, he could only resist Moran's black knife with his body. Ding. Clatter. Ah, it hurts. UB asterisk 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 D. 2.1. In the middle of Kaido's dragon body, Moran directly slashed him. At first, he failed to break through the defense, but when Moran swiped the knife down, Kaido's body was directly covered with blood. Moran ignored Kaido's insults, did not give a chance to react, and used Rinnegan's ability again. Shenluo Tianzheng. Bump. Kaido didn't understand what was going on, and turned into a small flying dragon again and flew out backwards. He didn't know now, so he looked confused. What's going on with this guy's ability? Kaido couldn't figure it out. Moran really has a lot of weird abilities, lightning and gravity, it's not scientific at all. Chapter 303. Ant fell into the sea and died. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 900. 225. 300. Even if Kaido wanted to break his head, he would never think that Moran's ability was not acquired by eating devil fruit at all. Moran's abilities are either snatched from others, or rewarded by the system, or obtained from characters, and none of them have any side effects. Kaido flew upside down and flew tens of meters away. After stabilizing his figure, he seemed to forget about saving the ant, and asked with a dark face, "What kind of ability are you, Dragon Emperor Kid?" Although Kaido didn't even look at Big Mom, but he was getting closer and closer to Big Mom, how could Moran not see what he wanted to do? It's nothing more than trying to distract him with words, and then save Big Mom while he's not paying attention. Thinking of this, Moran didn't answer Kaido's words, and raised his hand again to aim at Kaido, and then activated the Rinnegan ability. Universal Pull. Kaido's huge dragon body flew towards Moran uncontrollably again, and Kaido was so angry that he cursed. "Dragon Emperor, you be asterisk 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 D, and this damn ability, are you going to finish it?" He originally wanted to pretend that he didn't care about the ant, and then quietly leaned over to save the ant, because he knew that if the distance was too far, he would definitely be attracted by the gravity again before he rushed to the ant. But before he got close to Big Mom, Moran used gravity to attract him again, almost killing him. Moran didn't know what Kaido was thinking. When Kaido came to him, he raised the black knife in his hand again, and slashed at Kaido fiercely again. Kaido in dragon form can't resist at all, so he can only use armament haki to resist Moran's attack abruptly. J. Wow. Ah. B asterisk 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 D. B asterisk 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 D. Just now the knife slashed the body, but this time it was Kaido's head. Kaido's haki couldn't bear Moran's slash, and when the black knife slashed past, there was a splash of blood, accompanied by Kaido's tragic death. Cry. Immediately afterwards, Moran's feet turned black again, and before Kaido could react, he kicked hard on his head. Bump. Kaido flew upside down again, but this time Moran didn't kick him in the direction of Big Mom, but in the direction of Wanjian pirates. Thump. At this time, the ant finally fell into the sea, and the ant who was not rescued by anyone directly turned into a landlubber and gradually sank to the bottom of the sea. Moran just glanced at Big Mom, and then rushed out, shouting as he rushed towards the pirate ship, "Itachi's skin is too thick to cut, just use your Amaterasu to burn him." Moran tried his best to slash Kaido twice, only a little skin trauma. If you want to slash him to death, you have to slash until the year of the monkey. Moran also thought of this, so he directly kicked Kaido towards the pirate ship, and asked Uchiha Itachi to burn it with his Amaterasu, so that Kaido would have to peel off his skin as long as he was not dead at all. When Uchiha Itachi heard Moran's words, he immediately understood what Moran was thinking, and jumped onto the ship's mast. Then he closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, they had turned into a pair of blood-red eyes with a big the windmill was spinning. Amaterasu. When Kaido came over the ship, Uchiha Itachi directly activated the Sharingan ability and glared in Kaido's direction. Kaido, who was flying upside down uncontrollably, suddenly became frantically alert, and he didn't have time to think about turning back into a human body. Kaido completed the transformation in a short while, and when he was falling into the sea, he had time to look behind him, and saw a black flame following behind him, exuding a very threatening aura. Kaido stared at the black flame, and said to himself, "The danger just now should be this black flame." Although it looks a little weird on the surface, the danger felt by his observation haki cannot be false, so it must not be let this thing hits. Kaido couldn't fly after he changed back to human body, so he keeps falling down now. The black flames behind him were chasing after him, so he could only adjust his body so that his head was down and his feet were up, so that his falling speed would be faster. Clap. At this time, Moran finally caught up with Kaido, reached the sea level one step ahead of Kaido, just suspended on the sea level and waited for Kaido to fall. Kaido also found Moran at this time, saw him floating below waiting for him, his face was as black as the bottom of a pot, and he shouted, "B asterisk 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 D Dragon Emperor, what do you want?" Moran heard Kaido's question, and said a little speechlessly, "Kaido, you have to figure it out, it's not what I want, but what you and Ant want, you are the ones who trouble me, I want to ask you what exactly do you want?" After Kaido was silent for a while, he discussed again, "Dragon Emperor, you asked me to save Big Mom, and then Big Mom and I will retreat immediately, what do you think?" Moran glanced in the direction of the pirate ship, and then said, "I'm afraid you have no way to retreat today." Moran added in his heart, "I guess the pirates brought by Big Mom and Kaido are all dead." Just now when Moran saw Chitong and the others coming back, he already knew that the battle on the uninhabited island was over, so he didn't ask them how the uninhabited island was doing, because according to the strength of the people on board, Kaido and Big Mom brought pirates are no match for Chitong and the others. But knowing Moran doesn't mean others know too, among them is Kaido. Kaido felt a little puzzled when he heard Moran's words, but he still Li Hao asked, "Dragon King, what do you mean by saying that you can't retreat?" Moran didn't answer Kaido's words right away, because he had fallen in front of Moran, and Moran gave an uppercut and kicked Kaido hard. Bump. Kaido was kicked into the sky by Moran again. He was kicked by Moran in midair like a ball without the ability to fly. Moran knew that Kaido's transformation back into human form was not just about avoiding Amaterasu, he probably wanted to fish for Big Mom in the sea. But how could Moran let him succeed and kick him like a football? After Moran kicked Kaido into the sky, he said again, "My crew members are all here, but the pirates you and Big Mom brought over are nowhere to be found at this moment. You don't think they ran away first, do you?" Quote. Chapter 304. The Arrival of the Red Hair Pirates. On the way Kaido was kicked into the sky, when he heard Moran's words, he had an ominous feeling in his heart, his men wouldn't all be dead. Thinking of this, Kaido's face was as black as the bottom of a pot, and he turned into a dragon again, rushing directly to the Wanjian pirate's ship. As Kaido rushed over, he yelled and asked, "You bastards, did you kill all my subordinates?" Arturia raised her head and looked at Kaido, then said casually, "Not only you beasts pirates, but also the BIGMOM pirates, all of them have been killed by us." Hearing what Arturia said, Kaido gritted his teeth angrily and shouted, "Then I will send you to be buried with my subordinates." Moran looked at Uchiha Itachi, and shouted speechlessly, "Itachi, where are you aiming? You haven't burned a hair for so long, what are you doing?" Seeing that Kaido turned into a giant dragon again, Moran secretly complained in his heart. If he still can't burn it this time, he can just go buy a piece of tofu and kill him, so as not to spread the word and embarrass him. Uchiha Itachi heard Moran's words, he felt helpless because Amaterasu was too slow, and just wanted to explain to Moran. But when he saw Kaido rushing over, he gave up explaining directly, stared at the direction Kaido was rushing towards and launched Amaterasu directly. Amaterasu. Kaido saw another group of black flames appearing in front of him out of thin air, so he turned around and ran away in fright. How cruel what he said just now, he is so embarrassed to run away now. Moran saw Kaido running away again, his face gradually darkened, he looked at Uchiha Itachi, and wanted to complain, but after thinking about it, forget it. But Kaido lost his mind when he heard the death of his subordinates just now. He didn't expect to regain his mind so quickly. It's really not easy. Moran looked at Kaido and said with a little surprise. After Kaido turns into a dragon, he keeps flying up into the sky until Uchiha Itachi's Amaterasu can't reach him. After Kaido stopped in the sky, he looked at the Wanjian pirates on the sea with a cloudy expression, and no one knew what he was thinking. Moran also knew that it would be difficult for him to keep Kaido, the only way would be for Kaido to be hit by Uchiha Itachi's Amaterasu and slowly burn him to death, but now Kaido runs as soon as he sees the black flames, hardly giving them any chance. This is a bit difficult to do. Another way is to exhaust Kaido's physical strength, and then ask Uchiha Itachi to burn him to death, but Kaido is not a fool, he knows that the people of Wanjian pirates can kill him, it is impossible to fight with them run away when you run out of stamina. As soon as Moran thought of the trouble of killing Kaido, he flew back to the ship, and then lay on the deck chair, love whoever he is. Killing Kaido now will not do him any good. He has so many territories that no one manages them. Why do he need so many territories? They Wanjian pirates have already killed Kaido and all the elites brought by Big Mom. If you want to say a bad breath, it is almost done, so let Marine do the thankless work. For the current Moran, killing Kaido is a thankless task, so he just messes it up and loves whoever he likes. Kaido saw Moran running back to the boat to lie down, and his face became cloudy again. Moran went back to lie down, which meant that he thought about it, but he didn't leave right away, but suspended in the air and waited quietly. He heard that all his subordinates were dead just now, and was dazzled by anger, but now he gradually calmed down. He suspected that Arturia's words were deceiving him, because the subordinates he brought were not weak, and if he wanted to kill them in a short time, unless there were 4 or 5 top powerhouses attacking at the same time, otherwise it would be impossible at all arrive. And the strong men of the Wanjian pirates were all intercepted here by him and his aunt. There were not so many strong men who went to the uninhabited island, so he didn't believe that all the people he brought were dead. It is estimated that Kaido would never have imagined that the Wanjian pirates went to the uninhabited island just now. There are indeed 4 or 5 top-level experts. It can only be said that the appearance of Chitong and the others is too deceiving. Either little Lolita or young girls, if you say that they have the world's top strength, people who don't know them probably won't believe it. Asking for flowers. The tornado also flew back at this time, and as soon as it came back, it lay on Moran's body, staring at a pair of big kawaii eyes and asked, "Shall we leave that big bug Moran alone?" Kaido is her opponent this time, so she is very concerned about Kaido. When she saw Moran coming back just now, she wanted to go up and fight Kaido for 300 rounds, but Moran called him back. Moran was resting with his eyes closed, but when he heard Tornado's question, he opened his eyes and glanced at the sky, and said with a sullen expression, "That guy has rough skin and thick flesh, and it won't hurt us if we kill him. Let's not do this. Kind of thankless." After finishing speaking, Moran pulled the kawaii pillow in front of him, hugged the pillow, closed his eyes again and said, "Let's be a salted fish." While Moran was basking in the sun, there was a dragon-headed pirate ship on the sea level not far from them, sailing towards them quickly. On the bow stood a man with red hair, 1 arm, and 3 scars on his left eye. He is the red-haired Shanks who was nosy, and he came here this time to receive news that the 5 Emperors' War is about to break out here, so he rushed over non-stop to stop it. But what Shanks didn't know was that the war was over at this time, and he came to stop the war this time, and it is estimated that he could only stop loneliness. Ben Beckman leaned against the railing, pointed to the sky with one hand, looked at Shanks and said, "Shanks, look at the sky, isn't that Kaido?" Shanks, who was thinking about something, raised his head to look at the sky when he heard Ben Beckman's words. Sure enough, in the cloudy sky, a huge dragon loomed in the clouds. Shanks only saw Kaido, and didn't see anyone else. It stands to reason that someone should fight Kaido. Why is there only Kaido in the sky? Is the war over? Shanks, who couldn't figure it out, turned around and told Usopp, "Usopp, check to see if there are other people around Kaido. It's unscientific that Kaido is the only one in the sky." Chapter 305. Meteorite smashing red hair pirates. Shanks thought it might be because he was too far away to see, so he let the sniper Usopp on the ship, who has the best eyes, take a look, maybe Usopp might find something else. When Usopp heard what Shanks said, he didn't talk nonsense, and directly raised the sniper rifle in his hand, aiming randomly at the sky. But he was just like Shanks after staring for a long time, he didn't see anyone except Kaido, and after staring for a while he just gave up, there was no one else at all. Usopp put down the sniper rifle and said directly to Shanks, "Boss, there is no one else in the sky except Kaido." Shanks heard Usopp's answer, pointed to the sea in the distance and said, "There is no one in the sky, so it should be on the sea. If there are no enemies, Kaido cannot float in the sky in the form of a dragon. He has fought with Kaido more than once, so he knows each other very well. Kaido's current form, but the fighting form, although not his strongest fighting form, but Kaido can't show the fighting form without the enemy, so he concluded that the surrounding must be 21 and others." Hearing what Shanks said, Usopp didn't dare to be negligent. He raised the sniper rifle in his hand again and aimed at the sea level. Sure enough, he found a small black spot on the distant sea. Usopp put down the sniper rifle and said to Shanks, "Boss, there is indeed a pirate ship in the distance, but because the distance is too far, I can't see whose pirate ship it is." Shanks heard Usopp's words, pointed to the direction Usopp said, and ordered directly, "Little ones, go at full speed in that direction." Yes, everyone on the Red Hair Pirates started to get busy when they heard Shanks' order. The Red Hair Pirates, who usually seemed to be doing nothing, had a clear division of labor at critical moments, and they worked in an orderly manner. The speed of the Red Hair Pirates ship was very fast. After a while, Shanks could see the pirate ship not far away with his naked eyes. When he got closer, he finally saw clearly that it was the ship of the 10,000 Swords Pirates. On the side of Wanjian Pirates, Van Oka was standing on the watchtower, and he also spotted the approaching pirate ship. Van Oka took a look with his sniper rifle and saw the red-haired Shanks standing on the bow. What a hello everyone. After Van Oka sighed, he lowered his head and shouted to Moran on the deck, "Captain Red Hair Pirates are approaching, shall we prevent them from approaching?" Moran opened his eyes directly when he heard Van Oka's words, and complained with a sullen look on his face, "Damn, Shanks is here again, why is there him everywhere?" Moran patted the pillow on his body, and said to Long Wan, "Tong Wan, go reward them with a few stones, and see if they dare to meddle in their own business in the future." Tornado slowly opened his eyes, although he was a bit reluctant, he still slowly floated up, and then shot up into the sky. Everyone on the boat looked at Moran with strange expressions, and they secretly complained in their hearts, "What the hell do you call meteorite stones?" If Moran knew what everyone was thinking, he would definitely retort, "Isn't a meteorite just a stone? It's just a little bit bigger and just a little bit bigger." After the tornado rushed 20 to 30 meters above the pirate ship, he raised his hand slowly, glanced at the direction of the red hair pirates, and then pulled down with his pink and tender hand, pulling it 3 or 4 times in a row before stopping. After finishing these tornadoes, he didn't even want to see the results, and landed directly, and then got into Moran's arms, lying quietly on Moran's body and squinting his eyes. Moran felt the pillow come back, without even opening his eyes, and then the pillow turned on the salted fish mode again. Everyone on the boat was speechless for a while. The red hair pirates came to him. "He is one of the 5 emperors of the New World, can't you respect him a little bit?" The red hair pirates, who don't know the danger is coming, are still quickly approaching the Fangjan pirates. Ben Beckman was leaning against the railing, and suddenly felt that a danger was quietly approaching. He checked left and right, but found no problems. Seeing his unusual behavior, Shanks asked with a puzzled face, "Beckman, what are you looking for?" Ben Beckman did not hide anything, and told the truth. "I feel that there is a danger approaching in the dark, but I can't find the source of the danger. It's really strange." Hoo. Just as Ben Beckman finished speaking with Shanks, there was a sudden burst of air breaking in the sky. Everyone in the red hair pirates raised their heads and looked up into the sky. After a while, everyone saw that a huge meteorite that was burning was falling towards them. A little pirate on the deck asked tremblingly, "Where did such a big meteorite come from?" "What the hell? Are you stupid? Of course the meteorite fell from the head, did it still pop out of the sea?" Shanks didn't care about the noisy people on the deck, but directly pulled out his western sword and stared at the meteorite. When he saw the meteorite, he already guessed what was going on 360, probably it was the work of the Fangjan pirates. Usopp held up the sniper rifle in his hand. He didn't aim at the meteorite, but aimed at the clouds behind the meteorite with a solemn face. When the meteorite fell just now, it smashed through a hole in the cloud layer, so he could see the scene behind the cloud layer with the scope. When Usopp saw another meteorite falling, he said to Shanks with an ugly face, "Boss, there is not one meteorite, and now there is another meteorite falling. I don't know if there is another meteorite, and there is no one in front of it. Found the third meteorite." When Shanks heard Usopp's words, the expression on his face was more serious than before. Then he looked at Ben Beckman and said, 2 meteorites, 1 for each person, you should be fine, right? Ben Beckman showed a disdainful expression on his face and said, it's just a meteorite, I don't care about it, the trouble is the Fangjon pirates. Of course Shanks knew what Ben Beckman meant. The Wanjian pirates attacked them. This is not good news. Shanks thought of this just now, so he looked serious, or else it was just a meteorite, and he wouldn't be serious enough. Chapter 306. Ben Beckman rediscovers the strength of the Wanjian pirates. Shanks looked up at the meteorite that was getting closer and closer, and said to Ben Beckman beside him, Beckman, this meteorite is mine, and the rest will be given to you. Search. Before Beckman could speak, Shanks soared into the sky. When he reached a certain height, he raised the western sword in his hand, and slashed fiercely at the falling meteorite. Clang. Directly in front of Shanks, a huge sword aura of several tens of meters appeared, and quickly slashed towards the meteorite. Bump. Boom. Rumbling. Boom. Rumbling. The falling meteorite was directly divided into 2 by the sword energy, and fell into the sea on both sides of the red-haired pirate ship, causing a large splash of water. The ship of the red-haired pirate ship swayed in the waves, as if their ship would it is possible to turn over. Pat. Shanks just landed on the deck at this time, and he stood firmly on the deck as soon as he landed, as if the rickety ship didn't affect him at all. Shanks stood on his feet, looked at Beckman and said, Beckman's remaining meteorite will be given to you. Ben Beckman just glanced at Shanko without saying a word, then raised his head to look at the falling meteorite. When the meteorite fell to a certain distance, it shot up directly into the sky, took out a long gun, grabbed the tip of the gun, hockey covered the whole gun, and directly hit the meteorite with a butt. Bump. Boom. Rumbling. The huge meteorite was directly smashed into pieces of different sizes by Ben Beckman with a gun butt. Puff puff puff. It was like a rain of stones in the sky, and fragments of meteorites of different sizes fell on the sea. Pat. Ben Beckman also fell down with the meteorite fragments, landed steadily on the deck, slowly put away the gun, and pinned it to his belt. The captain and the deputy captain are really strong enough. As expected of the captain and the deputy captain, smashing meteorites is as easy as eating and drinking. If only I had this ability. Hey, the captain and the deputy captain are the world's top powerhouses. If you want to have their strength, you must not only work hard enough, but also have indispensable CBFJ talent. For a lazy guy like you, stop daydreaming. Damn it, doesn't lousy even think about it. Guys like you don't even have the qualifications to think about it. You be asterisk 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 D, do you want to fight? Just hit, you think lousy is afraid of you. The little pirate on the red-haired pirate ship was lamenting the strength of Shanks and Beckman, but suddenly they quarreled because of a word. Not only did Shanks not stop it, but he came not far from the 2 pirates who were fighting, looks with relish. You 2 fight quickly if you want to fight, what kind of skill is it if you just talk about it? Shanks not only didn't stop him, but also fanned the flames from the sidelines. Go to lousy. It's not certain who will die. The 2 little pirates shouted loudly, brandished machetes, and rushed towards each other quickly, as if they wanted to kill each other. Jingle. However, after the 2 collided with each other, they slashed their weapons at each other, and did not slash at each other's body, as if they wanted to let the weapons decide the winner. Cut. Do you call this a fight? You 2 should go home and drink milk. At this time, the pirates who were watching the fun around, saw the childish appearance of the 2 fighting, and they all laughed at each other. The cadres on the red hair pirates, seeing Shanks also looking excited, mixed in the crowd to watch the fun, suddenly became speechless. The F asterisk 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 G enemy is now, is it time to play around? The cadres on the red-haired pirate ship thought of this, and all turned their attention to Ben Beckman, hoping that he could stand up and persuade this funny captain, otherwise they would not know what would happen later. Now the Wanjian pirates ship is parked on the sea not far from them. Facing the people of the Wanjian pirates, these cadres dare not neglect at all. Ben Beckman saw everyone's eyes, and he knew what these cadres meant without even thinking about it, but he didn't stop Shanks' behavior. Because what the cadres can think of, how could he, the smartest person on the red hair pirates, not think of it? He also guessed the purpose of Shanks doing this now. This guy just doesn't want to deal with the Wanjian pirates, so he's just pretending to be stupid here. They red hair pirates came here to stop the war, but where is the war around now? So it is meaningless for them to go to the Wanjian pirates now. Shanks also thought of this, so he pretended to be stupid here. If the war is not over, this guy probably rushed faster than anyone else. Thinking of Ben Beckman here, as if he couldn't see the eyes of the cadres on the ship, he came to the railing and leaned against it, watching the waves without telling the truth. These guys can't figure it out, let them continue to be confused. Ben Beckman leaned on the railing of the ship, observing the surrounding situation. It seems that they are already late, and the war must have ended long ago. Ben Beckman saw the Wanjian pirates not far away. Except for the crew members who went out, they were all sitting or standing on the boat, but Big Mom and Kaido's pirates were nowhere to be seen. On the side of Kaido and Big Mom, there is only one Kaido who is still hovering in the sky, and even Big Mom, one of the 5 emperors, is missing. There are only 2 possibilities for this situation. The first is that Big Mom left Kaido and ran away alone, and the second is that the missing people were all killed by the Wanjian pirates. He himself is more inclined to the second possibility, because if Big Mom runs away, this guy Kaido can't be hovering in the sky all the time, but should have left long ago. Thinking of Ben Beckman here, looking at the Wanjian pirates not far away, he secretly sighed in his heart. It seems that they still underestimated the strength of the Wanjian pirates before. Big Mom and Kaido, two of the 5 emperors, can't fight together. Let the members of Wanjian pirates suffer casualties, and the 5 emperors who joined hands with Big Mom and Kaido, now only Kaido is left alone. Kaido probably regained his life because of his rough skin and thick flesh. Chapter 307. The Sad Red Hair Pirates. There is also a reason for Ben Beckman to guess so, that is, the surrounding planks are broken on the sea. These broken wooden boards, as long as there is no one who sails on the sea does not know, that is the sunken ship, and these broken wooden boards will appear around. And when he saw the dense wooden boards around him, he knew how fierce the battle was before they came here. As for why Kaido is still lingering in the air without any trace of the others, he doesn't know what's going on, probably only he, the person involved, and the Wanjian pirates not far away know it. Everyone in the Red Hair Pirates was still fighting, but they didn't know that there was a meteorite in the sky, which was slowly falling towards their pirate ship. When the tornado pulled down the 290 meteorite just now, the first and second meteorites were pulled down consecutively, but when pulling the third meteorite, she paused for a moment, which is why the third meteorite was pulled down, so much later than the previous 2 meteorites. On the red-haired pirate ship, only Usopp and Ben Beckman were observing the surroundings, and everyone except the Cadres went to join in the fun, and the Cadres didn't care about Ben Beckman, and they didn't care about this matter anymore. The captain and deputy captain were not worried, they were blind. What are you worrying about? When the Cadres on board thought of this, they all went to their own business, so let's do whatever you like. Usopp was still holding his sniper rifle, observing Kaido in the sky, and inadvertently swept across the clouds that had just been pierced by the meteorite. Just in time to see a small black dot slowly falling towards them, he glanced carefully and found that it was another stone. When Usopp saw the meteorite, he didn't dare to be negligent, and shouted directly at Shanks. Boss, there is another meteorite in the sky, and it is falling towards us at a fast speed, so hurry up and deal with it. Their ship has not moved since just now, so the meteorite is still falling straight towards their ship. With the speed of the meteorite, it is too late for them to run now, so they can only go up and smash the meteorite, or their ship will definitely be destroyed. Meteorites smashed into pieces. When Shanks heard Usopp's words, his face gradually darkened. Is this Wanjian pirates going to end? Shanks thought the meteorite was a member of the 10,000 Swords Pirates. Seeing that their red hair pirates were safe and sound, they got it down again. But what he didn't know was that this meteorite was with the 2 just now, but Shanks probably won't know about this until his death. The 2 little pirates on the boat who were fighting just now did not make any more noise at this time, but stopped their hands one after another. They are just playing around among friends, and they don't really want to kill each other. Now that this happens, they also know that it is not the time to play around. Shanks raised his head and glanced at the sky, and he saw a small black dot slowly falling towards them, and he didn't know if there were any meteorites behind. Thinking of this, Shanks turned his head and looked at Usopp and asked, Usopp, look behind this meteorite, is there any meteorite falling down? Hearing what Shanks said, Usopp raised his sniper rifle to aim behind the meteorite, but found nothing. He didn't know whether it was because of the distance or there was no meteorite behind. Usopp glanced for a while, but still found nothing, so he could only answer truthfully, I didn't find any other meteorites behind this meteorite. There are no more meteorites. Shanks heard Usopp's words, and directly ordered, go and sail away from the current position, no matter whether there are meteorites falling on it, it is absolutely right to leave the current position. Shanks thought that when they saw the first meteorite just now, their ship didn't move anymore, just stopped on the sea. And the 3 meteorites all fell on the same location, he thought that this location might have been locked by the Wanjian pirates, so he ordered to leave the current location without hesitation. However, what Shanks did not expect was that the meteorites pulled down by the tornado can turn around, but this time the tornado only pulled down 3 meteorites, otherwise, the red hair pirates could experience the feeling of being chased and smashed by meteorites up. Everyone on the red-haired pirate ship got busy after hearing what Shanks said, and began to steer the ship away from the current position. Shanks jumped to the bow after seeing everyone on the boat moving, waiting quietly for the meteorite to fall. When the meteorite fell only 100 meters away from their ship, Shanks shot straight into the sky, and slashed out fiercely with his sword. Clang! A huge sword aura of several tens of meters struck the meteorite swiftly. The speed of the sword aura was so fast that it rode on the meteorite in an instant. Bump! Boom! Rumble! Boom! Rumbling. The falling meteorite was directly divided into 2 by the sword energy, and fell into the sea on both sides of the red-haired pirate ship, causing a large splash of water on both sides of the ship, and the pirate ship passed through the middle, and the raised seawater directly through the ship. Everyone in the house was drowned. Exclamation mark. When Shanks fell down, he also turned into a drowned chicken, and his whole body was wet. Seeing Shanks coming back, Ben Beckman stepped forward and asked, Boss, shall we continue to stay here, or where are we going? After Ben Beckman observed this place just now, he felt that there was no need for the red hair pirates to stay here anymore, because the war was over, and their continued stay here would only escalate the conflict, and their red hair pirates did not want to see this. What a situation. Shanks thought for a while with a dark face, before answering 1.1. Let's stay here for a day, if they don't fight, it's not too late for us to go back. Ben Beckman opened his mouth, wanting to tell Shanks about his speculation and what he observed just now, but after thinking about it, forget it. Because he doesn't have real evidence to prove that Big Mom's side has been defeated, these are just his guesses, and it shouldn't be a problem to stay here for a day, right? Thinking of Ben Beckman here, he thought to himself, it should be fine to stay here for a day, provided that there is no conflict with the Wanjian pirates, or if they want to leave here, they probably have to get the consent of the Wanjian pirates. Chapter 308. Conversation between Kaido and Shanks. The ship of red hair pirates, after sailing for a certain distance, stopped on a calm sea not far away, and 100 meters away to their left was the ship of the Wanjian pirates. Shanks looked up at the sky for a while, and after making sure that there were no meteorites falling, he mingled with a group of pirates on the boat. Ben Beckman and the cadres on the ship could only shake their heads helplessly when they saw this scene. They are all used to this out of the ordinary captain, let him make troubles. At this time, Kaido, who was still in the sky, also found the red hair pirates on the sea. Every time there is a war, the red hair pirates can be seen. Kaido is not surprised to see the red hair pirates here now, he knows how nosy that Shanks guy is, it would be strange if he didn't come. Thinking of this, Kaido directly swooped in the direction of the red-haired pirate ship. Kaido's dragon form is so huge that as soon as he swoops down, Usopp on the red hair pirates has already spotted Kaido rushing towards their pirate ship. Usopp saw Kaido getting closer and closer. This is Kaido of the Five Emperors, he didn't dare to neglect, and shouted directly in the direction of Shanks. Boss, Kaido is flying towards us, do we want to launch an attack? Quote. Ben Beckman was next to Usopp, so when Usopp found out, he also found Kaido who was rushing towards him. But it's just Kaido alone, he's not too worried, after all, members of the red hair pirates are here, so they don't love Kaido at all, and Kaido is still alone. They don't even have to. Shanks raised his head and glanced at the sky, saw Kaido swooping over, and then ordered. Everyone, get ready to fight, as long as Kaido dares to strike, I will beat him to death. Pipe. Quote. It's the captain. Although Shanks doesn't know what Kaido wants to do, but the possibility of a fight is not great, because now Kaido's enemy is the Wanjian pirates instead of their red hair pirates, but just in case he still prepares to fight Kaido preparation. Ben Beckman came to Shanks, looked up at the dragon Kaido in the sky, and guessed. Before we came here, there were only the ships of the Wanjian pirates around. All the other pirate ships were sunk, causing Kaido to have no place to stay. Now this guy should want to come down and rest for a while after seeing our ship. Shanks heard Ben Beckman's speculation, and felt that what he said was reasonable. After all, he knew that Kaido, who maintained the form of a dragon, exhausted his physical strength very quickly, so it made sense for him to come down and rest for a while. Kaido flew very fast, and after a while he swooped over the red hair pirate's ship, and then began to transform back into a human form. After turning back into a human form, Kaido fell towards the red hair pirate's ship below. Bump. Kaido landed firmly on the deck, and the deck under his feet was stamped with spider web-like cracks, which spread until several meters away before stopping. Shanks saw the cracks on the deck stepped on by Kaido, his face was as black as the bottom of a pot and shouted. Kaido, you be asterisk 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 D, what do you mean by stepping on the deck of my ship like this? Kaido doesn't want to conflict with Shanks now, so he can only say with a dark face, it's just a few broken boards, the big deal is that I will pay you after lousy returns. Shanks saw that Kaido didn't get angry, which made him very surprised. In the past, they didn't quarrel when they met, and they didn't sit down and talk at all. Sometimes they even had a fight to talk about things. Kaido is a bit abnormal today. Thinking of Shanks here, he asked with surprise on his face. Kaido, this is not like your character, how are you doing today? Then he added. Aren't you here to fight the Wanjian pirates? Why are you the only one here now? When Kaido heard Shanks' question, he was silent for a while with a gloomy face, and then he said. The Big Mom pirate group led by Charlotte Linlin, and the Beasts pirates led by me are all missing now. Charlotte Linlin they were also thrown into the bottom of the sea to die. Kaido did not hide what happened here, after all, with the ability of red hair pirates, it is not difficult to know what happened here. The most important thing is that he came here to ask for the red hair pirates, and the things he wanted Shanks to help were also related to these things. Even if Shanks didn't ask him, he would say, so when Shanks asked, he just said it very simply. Quote. What? You have tens of thousands of people here, and you and Big Mom are two top powerhouses, how can you be beaten like this? Shanks said with wide eyes and disbelief when he heard Kaido's words. Although Ben Beckman had already guessed the result just now, when Kaido said it himself, he was shocked beyond measure. The surrounding red hair pirates crew members were stunned by the news when they heard the conversation between the two. Hey, Auntie and Kaido joined hands with the two Five Emperors, and they were beaten to almost annihilate the whole army. Is this Fangjan pirates really so terrifying? Looking at the broken boards on the surrounding sea, they should be the ships of Big Mom and Kaido's pirate group. What Kaido said is probably true. Hey, you said that the Wanjian pirates will attack our red hair pirates. Should. Probably not. The pirates on the red-haired pirate ship, Nonuo Zhou, gradually came to their senses and gathered together in twos and threes to discuss. Shanks' complexion kept changing, he thought for a while with a gloomy face, and then asked. You were defeated by the Wanjian pirates, and you don't want to escape or find the missing person, what's the point of coming here to find me? Quote. Kaido said with a gloomy face, I want you to help me find the missing person. I am alone now and I can't leave here, so I can only ask you for help. Kaido was afraid that as soon as he left here, everyone in the Wanjian pirates would look for his subordinates and kill them all. However, what Kaido didn't know was that the people he brought and the people brought by the ant had already reported to Yama. Moran and the others also told Kaido, but he didn't believe it. Chapter 309. Shanks wants to negotiate with Moran. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 580. 145. 193. Shanks was lost in thought at this time. He didn't know whether he should help. If he helped, would the Wanjian pirates attack their red hair pirates? As a captain, he had to think carefully about these things. The crew went to die in vain. At this time, Ben Beckman came to Shanks, looked at Kaido and asked, "Why do you think we will help you?" Ben Beckman thinks the same as Shanks, they will not offend the Wanjian pirates for Kaido for no reason. Kaido looked at the silent Shanks and promised, "As long as you do me this favor this time, I, the Beast's pirates, owe you red hair pirates a favor, and you don't want the 5 emperors of the New World to fall at the same time, right?" Kaido knows that Shanks has always wanted world peace, so he can't watch the Beast's pirates and BIGMOM pirates fall here, or the New World will be messed up. This is not the result Shanks wants to see, so Kaido came here and asked for help from the red hair pirates. Shanks raised his head to look at Kaido, and said solemnly, "I can help you find the missing person, but a favor alone is not enough. I want you to promise me that you will not start another war within 2 years. If you don't promise me now, turn around and go." When Kaido heard Shanks' request, he agreed without thinking. "I promise you that I will never start a war within 2 years, but if anyone seeks death, don't blame me." As Kaido told Shanks about his pirate group, the last uninhabited island they went to, and the time when they disappeared, it was convenient for Shanks and the others to find someone. Shanks suddenly thought of Big Mom at this moment, so he asked Kaido, "Dad, Mom was thrown into the sea, why don't you go?" As soon as Shanks mentioned the boss, Kaido's face gradually darkened, and after a while he said, "The place where Big Mom fell into the bottom of the sea is where the Wanjian pirates' ship is now, and I can't get close to it at all. Not to mention saving lives." It turned out that when Moran and the others saw Kaido hovering in the air just now, they thought he was refusing to leave because he wanted to save Big Mom, so they parked the boat at the spot where Big Mom fell, so that Kaido had to get close if he wanted to save someone. Their boat did not let Kaido go down to save people. Kaido also thought about diving into the bottom of the sea from a distance, and then slowly approaching to save people, but before he started diving into the bottom of the sea, he was struck by lightning bolts as soon as he made a move. Although these thunder and lightning can't help him, but he also knows that his small actions were discovered by the Wanjian pirates, and it is meaningless to continue, so he gave up the idea of diving into the sea to save people. When Shanks heard Kaido's words, his complexion became ugly. If Big Mom really died here, New World would definitely mess up. This is not what he wants to see. Thinking of Shanks here, he looked at Ben Beckman and asked, "Is there a way for Beckman to save Big Mom?" Hearing this, Ben Beckman glanced at the ship not far away, and then said, "If we want to rescue Big Mom, unless the Dragon Emperor Moran nods, otherwise even if we board together, the hope of rescue is not great." Ben Beckman actually wanted to say that there is no hope at all, but considering the current situation is not right, he said that there is not much hope in a tactful way. After Shanks heard Ben Beckman's analysis, he was silent for a while before he said, "Let's go talk to Dragon Emperor Moran. If he doesn't agree with us saving people, we can make the next step." Then Shanks ordered the crew on the ship to send the ship to the Wanjian pirates. Although the pirates on board did not want to have anything to do with the Wanjian pirates, they did not dare to disobey Shanks' orders, so they could only sail reluctantly, slowly heading towards the Wanjian pirates' ship. Near BWGB. Shanks looked at the reluctant crew members, and complained with a dark face, "It's just a negotiation, and it's frightening like this, it's really embarrassing to our red hair pirates." Ben Beckman glanced at Shanks, and then said, "Let's not talk about them, even I don't want to have anything to do with the Wanjian pirates. I think you think the same way." Asking for flowers. Shanks glared at him viciously when he heard this. "Don't you know what it means to see through and not tell the truth? It's not just their red hair pirates who have this kind of thinking. After this battle spreads, no one would be willing to get involved with the Wanjian pirates. The relationship between friends is good. If they were enemies, no one would probably can sleep well. In the past, everyone knew that the 10,000 Swords pirates were very strong, but they didn't know how strong they were. The same was true for Shanks. When he met Moran, he only knew that there were a few monsters on his ship, but he had never fought against them. I don't know how strong these people are. After this battle, the world should be able to roughly guess how strong the Wanjian pirates are. 0. For the Wanjian pirates, everyone on board had already spotted the approaching pirate ship, but they were still busy with their own affairs, and didn't take red hair pirates seriously at all. Moran was still lying on the recliner as always, with a kitten lying on his body. The sun was shining on his body, and both of them squinted comfortably. Chitong and Arturia sat on the railing, saw the two people on the deck chair, and said enviously, "I really envy that little guy, Tornado, who can stick together with Master Moran every day. If only I could be like her." Arturia heard Chitong's words, glanced at her and said, "You envy that little Tornado, why doesn't Tornado envy us?" Arturia is right, Tornado is really envious of their figures. If she had an adult figure, Moran would not treat her like a child. Chitong also knew what Arturia meant, so she didn't continue to talk about this topic, but asked, "The red hair pirates are approaching, should we really not tell Master Moran?" Arturia glanced at Moran, and then explained, "There is no need to report to Master Moran, because when the red hair pirates approached, he had already discovered it." Chapter 310. Shanks of Death. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 67. 17. 22. After hearing Arturia's explanation, Chitong thought about it and felt that what she said made sense. She knew Moran's observation hockey, and it was always on when there was nothing to do. What's more, it was still on the battlefield, and he had no reason to turn off the observation. Hockey. Thinking of the red pupil here, she glanced at Moran and saw that he was still resting with his eyes closed, so she didn't care about it anymore. It's okay even if Moran doesn't find out, it's just a red hair pirates, as long as the red hairs dare to do something, they dare to let the red hair pirates come and go. Everyone on the Wanjian pirates did not attack the approaching red hair pirates without Moran's order. Moran did exactly what Arturia said. Before the red hair pirates even moved, he already knew that the red hair pirates were going to come over, because the conversation between Shanks and Kaido fell on him verbatim. In the ear, there is no way who can make his knowledge so amazing. Without the stop of the Wanjian pirates, the red hair pirates' ship soon came to Moran's ship. The distance between the two ships was about 10 meters. Open. Shanks stood on the bow and looked at the Wanjian pirates' ship. He was thinking about how to persuade Moran to stop. After a few contacts, he also understood Moran's character. He didn't seem like a guy who could listen to others. What? After thinking for a while, Shanks had no idea, turned his head to look at Kaido and asked, Kaido, I'm going to the Dragon King Moran's boat, do you want to go there with me? Shanks wants Kaido to negotiate together, because the stronger the people on their side, the more powerful they will be to them, because the negotiation must have a small difference in strength between the two parties, otherwise why would they sit down and negotiate with you? If the strength of the people on their side is too weak, the members of the Wanjian pirates probably won't even look at them. However, what Shanks doesn't know is that even if he teamed up with Kaido, Moran wouldn't take them seriously, there's no way his crew is so good. Hearing what Shanks said, Kaido remembered the black flame that made him feel very dangerous just now, and directly shook his head and refused. Lousy doesn't want to see that B********* D Dragon Emperor now, or else Lousy can't help but kill that B******** D. Go yourself. Although Kaido is a bunch of cowards in his heart, he is not cowardly at all, and he still looks like he is the boss and his second child. Everyone on Red Hair Pirates rolled their eyes when they heard Kaido's words. They were all beaten up like this. Why are you still bragging about the bullshit here? The 2-5 Emperor Pirates joined hands, and they were beaten to the point where only one person remained, and now they are still threatening to kill him. In the legend, Kaido is thick-skinned and thick-skinned, isn't it his face? Everyone on Red Hair Pirates despised Kaido in their hearts, but they didn't dare to say it out. After all, he was a genuine top-level powerhouse no matter what, and they didn't want to offend this kind of existence. Puff. Ha 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 hiccup. And different from everyone on the boat, Shanks is the same 5 emperors as Kaido. He is not afraid of offending Kaido, so when he heard Kaido's words, he laughed without any scruples. Shanks laughed loudly and taunted Kaido. Kaido, you are afraid of the Dragon King Moran, right? Kaido saw Shanks smiling like a 205, with blue veins popping out on his forehead. His complexion gradually darkened. He gritted his teeth and shouted. Lousy is not afraid of that B******* D Dragon Emperor. You red-haired B****** D. Do you want to fight? Shanks looked at the yelling Kaido, showed a disdainful expression and asked. If you are really not afraid, how about going to talk to Dragon Emperor Moran with me? Do you dare to come with me? When Kaido heard what Shanks said, his face turned blue and then pale, and he performed a face-changing Sichuan opera for everyone on the boat. Kaido's face changed again and again, but he didn't say a word, and finally turned around directly, leaving only the back of Shanks' head. Shanks saw Kaido turn around directly, and mocked with disdain on his face. Cut. I thought you were so awesome, so you will be cowardly too. Ben Beckman saw Kaido clenched his fist and knew that he was on the verge of breaking out, so he could only stand up and stop him. If Shanks doesn't want to go, let me negotiate with you. Ben Beckman knew that if he didn't come out to stop Shanks, he would definitely continue to mock. After all, he knew Shanks' character very well, and he couldn't stop laughing at others. At this time, Kaido is like a powder keg, which may explode at any time, so this guy can't stand ridicule now. Shanks saw that Kaido really didn't dare to go there, so he had no choice but to give up. He mocked Kaido so hard, just wanting to use the aggressive method to make Kaido go to negotiate with him, but looking at the current situation, it is almost impossible to let Kaido go. Shanks can't figure it out. Kaido, who is not afraid of anything, is just negotiating with Moran in the past. What is he afraid of? Shanks, who couldn't figure it out, simply stopped thinking about it, looked at Beckman and said, since Kaido doesn't want to go, let's go together. Shanks didn't mean to bring the cadres on the ship to 393. Although these people are good in strength, they are still far behind the top powerhouses. Not only were these people unable to help in the past, if the negotiation failed, it may also hold them back. Ben Beckman looked at the boat 10 meters away and asked, Shanks, how do we get there? Shall we just jump over there? Shanks replied without thinking. The distance is not too far, just jump over. After Shanks finished speaking, he soared into the sky and swooped towards the Wanjian pirate's ship, and several flashes appeared above Moran's head. Ben Beckman just wanted to stop Shanks, but Shanks had already rushed out, so he could only swallow the words that came to his mouth, thinking to himself, jumping on top of a strong man for no reason, no need to think no it will not end well. Thinking of Ben Beckman here, he just stayed on the boat and watched Shanks rushing out quietly, and asked this funny captain to go to explore the way first, and it would not be too late for him to go if there was no problem. It's not that he doesn't worry about the safety of Shanks. This place is not far from the ship of the Wanjian pirates. For a strong man like him, he can appear on the opposite side in an instant, so if there is a real fight, he will follow the opposite side here. The difference is not big. Chapter 311. The Shanks who was flew out. Moran, who was hugging a pillow and squinting his eyes to bask in the sun, felt the sudden breath above his head. He didn't need to open his eyes to know who it was. After all, his observation Hawkeye had never been recovered. The B************* D Shanks rides on his head as soon as he comes. Does this mean she is someone easy to bully? Thinking of this, Moran didn't even open his eyes, and directly raised his hand and waved it lightly. An invisible energy suddenly attacked Shanks who was in the air. As for Shanks, who was still in the air and was about to land, his observation Hawkeye suddenly sounded crazily, but because he was in the air and he couldn't fly, he could only cover his whole body with Hawkeye. I want to take down the invisible attack. Bump. As soon as Shanks covered Hawkeye all over his body, an invisible energy bombarded him, sending him flying backwards. Thump. After Shanks flew upside down and flew tens of meters away, he landed on the sea with a plop, kicking up a large swath of seawater. After Moran knocked Shanks out, he slowly opened his eyes and glanced at Shanks who flew out, and then told the 950 combat members on board. Chitong and you guys, if they dare to come over from above our heads, don't be polite to them, just beat them to the point where they can't take care of themselves. Combat members. We know. Several combat members on the ship were excited when they heard Moran's words. They hadn't had the fun of fighting just now. If they fight with the red hair pirates now, it would be just what they want. Wow. After a while, Shanks emerged from the sea with no injuries except his clothes were soaked. Moran's purpose was not to hurt this guy, but to make him feel embarrassed, otherwise he would not have used this ability, but had drawn his knife and rushed to chop him. Because for Shanks this level of powerhouse, unless they use up their Hawkeye, or use some special abilities, such as Uchiha Itachi's Amaterasu, otherwise, ordinary abilities and methods can't hurt this level of destroyer at all. A little pirate on the red-haired pirate ship saw Shanks being thrown into the sea, CBEH, and shouted anxiously, "Ah! Vice Captain, the captain has been thrown into the sea, what should we do?" The captain couldn't hold it for a few seconds and was sent flying. Why are we going to provoke these monsters? Is it time to think about these questions? The captain has been thrown into the sea, shouldn't we go to rescue the captain first? Hurry up, drive the boat over and save the captain. The little pirates on the red hair pirates saw Shanks being thrown into the sea, and they ran around the ship anxiously. Ben Beckman looked at the mess on the boat, and reprimanded with black lines on his face. Shanks just had nowhere to borrow strength in the air, so he was shot into the sea. What are you panicking about? These little pirates may not be able to see what happened just now, but they, the powerhouses above the cadre level, can see it clearly. Shanks was just sent flying because he had nowhere to borrow strength in the air. Injured. These cadres, who knew what was going on, looked at the direction in which Shanks fell into the sea, and they didn't look anxious at all. The little pirates who were running around on the boat just now finally stopped after hearing Ben Beckman's scolding. Ben Beckman saw that they stopped, and ordered again, "Go and drive the boat to the direction where Shanks fell, and we will talk about bringing him back if there is anything to do." The first half of what Ben Beckman said was to these little pirates, and the second half was to the cadres on board. It's the mate. After hearing Ben Beckman's words, these little pirates agreed to control the pirate ship and drove towards the direction where Shanks fell. And the cadres on the ship wanted to say something just now, but after hearing Ben Beckman's words, they all swallowed the words that reached their mouths. At this time, Shanks, who was floating on the sea, looked around in a daze. So why was I attacked? Until now, Shanks couldn't figure it out. He was just negotiating, not fighting. Why should Moran estimate him? According to this guy's character in the past, he probably wouldn't understand why a tiger's butt can't be touched, and a strong man's head can't go over it. After thinking for a long time, Shanks couldn't figure it out, so he stopped thinking about it. Seeing his own boat coming towards him, he just floated on the sea and waited quietly for the boat to arrive. No matter what the reason was, he waited to get on the boat. Think about it later. After a while, the boat of red hair pirates came to the vicinity of Shanks, and when the boat got closer to about 10 meters, it stopped slowly. Quote exclamation mark quote. After seeing the boat stop, Shanks rushed out of the sea, and came over the boat in a few flashes. Pat. Shanks landed firmly on the deck. Although his clothes were soaked, he was not injured at all. When the red hair pirates saw this scene, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Shanks was sent flying just now, which really scared the little pirates. After all, they don't know what the defense of a top powerhouse is. Shanks, who landed on the deck, looked at Ben Beckman's questioning face with black lines. "Beckman, what's the matter with you? Didn't you agree to go there together? Why didn't you go with me?" Facing Shanks' 3 consecutive questions, Ben Beckman still calmly asked, "I'm out of my mind. Why did I accompany you to provoke a group of monsters?" Just now Shanks rushed directly to the top of the Wanjian pirates. What is the difference from provoking these monsters? Just now Ben Beckman thought of this, so he didn't go with Shanks. Obviously his choice was correct, otherwise there might be 2 drowned chickens now. Shanks didn't understand what was going on, and asked with a confused look, "When did I go to provoke those monsters?" Seeing Shanks' expression, Ben Beckman knew that Shanks didn't know what was going on, so he could only explain patiently. "Just now you jumped directly on top of the opponent's head. Is this any different from provoking him?" Chapter 312. Shanks wants to reason with Moran. Shanks patted his head after Ben Beckman's explanation, showing an expression of enlightenment, and said with emotion, I just said why they attacked me for no reason just now, so the problem is here. Ben Beckman saw Shanks' stupid look, covered his face with one hand and was ashamed. How could he follow such a stupid captain? But Ben Beckman also knew in his heart that Shanks only behaved like this when nothing happened, and when something really happened, he was probably smarter than anyone else. Just like that old guy Garp, he is usually careless, but he is smarter than anyone else when he is serious. Thinking of Ben Beckman, he looked at Shanks and asked, what should we do next? It's unrealistic to jump over directly. It is possible that 603 will arouse the opponent's resentment, and it may even cause a war. Ben Beckman guessed that it was just a warning from the other party. If he jumped over it again, it might cause a war. After all, they have not dealt with the Wanjian pirates once or twice. They know that the combat members on the other party's ship are a group of good people, fighters. These militants will not reason with you, they will beat you if they say they will beat you, and you will have no temper at all. Shanks glanced at the Wanjian pirate's ship, and then said, we don't have a boat on board, so we can only drive the boat over to talk to them. Little ones, bring the boat to me. Yes, it's the captain. The little pirates of the Red Hair Pirates agreed tremblingly, then reluctantly went to control the ship, and slowly approached the Wanjian pirates. On the side of the Wanjian pirates, Kai Tong, who was sitting on the railing, saw the Red Hair Pirates approaching, and asked Moran directly. Master Moran and the others did not come from above, but came by boat. Are we still here? Are you going to attack them Red Hair Pirates? Moran glanced at the sea level and saw the approaching pirate ship and replied, don't attack them yet, we will see the situation later to know whether to fight or not. You are all ready to fight. The crew. It's the captain. Although Moran knew that their purpose was to save Big Mom, Shanks didn't say how to save Big Mom just now when Max and they talked. Moran's sense of knowledge is only able to hear the voices of others, but not the voices of others. Moran doesn't know what Shanks and the others want to talk to him, so he plans to see the situation before making a decision. Moran walked to the railing and looked at the approaching pirate ship. At this time, the Red Hair Pirate's ship was less than 10 meters away from the Wanjian pirate's ship. When the two boats approached, only 3 or 4 meters away, Shanks stood on the bow and greeted with a smile. Ha 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 ha. Long time no see, Dragon Emperor Moran, how is it? Moran saw Shanks smiling like a 250, and replied with a speechless face. At first I had a good life, but after seeing you, my whole body is not good, and I always have a feeling of wanting to beat you up. Impulsive. As soon as Moran finished speaking, the little pirates on the red-haired pirate ship all looked trembling, while the cadres were the complete opposite. They all looked like they wanted to eat Wallen. Shanks also noticed the situation on the boat, and waved his hand to make them calm down a bit. They are here to negotiate, not to fight. After finishing all this, Shanks looked at Moran again with an embarrassed smile and said, hee hee. Your mouth is still as poisonous as ever. You should have played enough by now, right? Can we sit down and talk now? Facing Shanks' 2 consecutive questions, Moran did not answer his words, but turned his head to look at the people behind him and asked, have you fought enough with those people today? Everyone on the Wanjian pirates shouted in unison with a tacit understanding, Captain, we haven't fought enough. Moran nodded in satisfaction, then turned his head to look at Shanks, spread his hands and pretended to be helpless, and said, my crew members haven't fought enough, how about you guys from Red Hair Pirates, how about playing with them? Quote. Shanks' face darkened when he heard this, but in an instant he regained a playful smile and said, don't make fun of me, this kind of joke is not funny at all. He paused for a while and then said, what exactly do you want to let us go down to save Auntie? If you have any request, just say it. Moran rubbed his chin and thought for a while, then said with a smile, I'm just a salty fish, I don't like to make trouble, but I hate trouble even more. Aunt, unless you beat up all the members of our Wanjian pirates, don't even think about it. After Moran finished speaking, the surrounding sea became quiet, and the atmosphere became more and more tense, as if the two sides might start fighting at any moment. Moran doesn't need anything now, and he doesn't know what to ask for, so he still thinks it's better to let the ant suffocate to death below. After all, this ant always makes trouble for him, and he really annoys this ant. Shanks lowered his head gloomily when he heard Moran's non-negotiable tone, not knowing what he was thinking. Shanks lowered his head for a long time, then raised his head with a dark face and asked, is there no room for negotiation at all? Do you know what happens if New World loses 4 emperors? If you don't know, let me tell you, if there is 1 less 4 emperors in New World, the world structure will be out of balance, and there will be countless large and small 5.6 wars. Blah blah, blah blah. Shanks said a lot of truths in one breath. Moran almost fell asleep. If not for the sea breeze blowing from time to time, refreshing him, he would probably have fallen asleep by now. When Shanks finished speaking, Moran yawned and asked, have you finished? If so, please go ahead. After Moran finished speaking, he walked to the deck chair on the boat. Hearing this guy fart here, he might as well go to sleep. On the surface, Shanks said righteousness, as if he was really for world peace, but if it's really for world peace, you are a woolen pirate. Isn't Marine more suitable for this kind of thing? Chapter 313. Arturia of Hockey. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 391. 98. 130. Shanks saw Moran lying on the recliner with his eyes squinted, looking reckless, and could only stand on the other side and look helplessly at Moran. Shanks also knows that it is impossible to fight. After all, they are here to save people, not to fight with the Wanjian pirates. It is not a small matter for the 5 emperors to go to war. It is said that a major decision of their 5 emperors can affect the whole world is worth it. If there is a real fight, let alone whether it can be fought, it will only cause the pirates of New World to lose more power. After all, the 5 emperors of New World have already abolished 2, and the 2 of Big Mom and Kaido the pirate group has been abolished by Moran, and now there are only 2 bear commanders left in the 2 5 emperor pirate groups. If he fights with the Wanjian pirate group again, Marine will not need to do it at that time. Their New World Marines the thief himself will play himself to death. So he never thought of going to war with Wanjian One Piece from the very beginning. Now he just wants to minimize the loss. If Wu Huang's subordinates die, they can be trained again, but as the captain, Wu Huang cannot die. The thieves will become a mess and will be eliminated by New World in a short time. Shanks stood there with his head down and his face gloomy. No one knew what he was thinking. The members of Red Hair Pirates and Kaido didn't bother him, but quietly waited for Shanks to give orders. Time passed by, and I don't know how long it has passed. Shanks looked up in disgust with Moran. Auntie's territory and wealth all belong to your Wanjian pirates, can you spare her life? Moran heard the bullshit Shanks said, glanced at him, and said with disdain, the Big Mom pirates are now in name only, and her territory and wealth are my spoils of war. You can exchange her life with me. Do you think I'm stupid or are you out of your mind? Hearing this, Shanks asked with a gloomy face, Dragon Emperor Moran, do you really want to kill them all? You must know that our enemies are Marine and the SJ government, not New World pirates. The emperors of their New World usually fight until the end, rather than really fighting to the death. After all, there is Marine watching from the sidelines, so the friction between the few pirate groups generally rarely dispatches the captain level. The combat power of the 5 emperors is not so much the combat power of the 5 emperors, it is better to say that they are the existence of the whole cards, and they usually sit in the base camp and will not make a move easily. Of course, since the appearance of the Wanjian pirates, this tacit understanding directly being broken by Moran, the 5 emperors ran out for a walk at every turn. Moran didn't answer Shanks' words, but looked at his crew and asked in surprise, when did our Fangjan pirates have enemies? Why didn't I know? Do you know the code? PFF'd. Ha 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 hiccup. All the members of the Wanjian pirates were all amused by Moran's funny 3 in a row question, and all of them couldn't straighten up laughing. Only they know how strong the members of the 10,000 Swords pirates are. To put it bluntly, there is no force in this world that can keep them. After all, they are taking the elite route. The world is an enemy. Even if the SJ government dispatches all its combat power to catch him, it will be useless, unless the SJ government, Marine, and the other 5 emperors join hands to make it possible. Even if these people team up, it is only a possibility. After all, they can still sneak away if they can't fight. The superpower of the tornado is not for watching. It is not an exaggeration to be qualified to be their enemy. After Arturia smiled for a while, she regained her strength, looked at Shanks and said with disdain. Our Wanjian pirates have no enemies at all, and we never regard any force as an enemy. The enemy because there is no force in this world that is qualified to be our enemy. It also includes you Red Hair pirates. As long as our Wanjian pirates want to, we can uproot you at any time, so don't come here to judge us self-righteously. You Red Hair pirates are not qualified to control us. Moran saw Altali Chinmas yelling at Shanks unceremoniously, and didn't intend to stop her. After all, what she said was only the truth. As for the issue of hatred, he is not worried at all. There are only a few top powerhouses in the entire world. As long as these top powerhouses don't join forces, they will come here to deliver food to them. He is too happy to be happy. And it is impossible for these top powerhouses to join forces, so Wanjian pirates can go wherever they want, even if they go to the lair of the SJ government. After all, no one can stay if they want to run away live, and the outcome of a real fight should still be unknown. Chapter 314. Beep with me again, you don't have to leave. You Wanjian pirates are just like our Red Hair pirates, one of the 5 emperors of the New World. Why do you look down on us? That's right, it's not certain who wins and loses in a real fight. Boss, since we don't want to be so useless, we will fight with their Wanjian pirates. I don't believe that they have just finished fighting with the 2 5 emperors. They still have the ability to eat our red-haired sea thief. When Arturia finished speaking, all members of the Red Hair pirates, no matter if they were cadres or ordinary members, all glared at Arturia angrily, and even cursed in their mouths. The deputy chief rushed over to die with the Wanjian pirates. Only Shanks and Beckman bowed their heads with ugly faces. Others on the Red Hair pirates couldn't feel it, but the 2 of them could feel it clearly. Most of the breaths of the combat members on the 10,000 Swords pirates, they are all in a stable group, and these combat members have no injuries at all, so they should not have used all their strength in the battle with Big Mom and Kaido. Without using all their strength, they have already defeated the 2 5 emperors. What do they get for Red Hair pirates? Are you going to fight the Wanjian pirates? Their Red Hair pirates, Big Mom and Kaido's pirate group are just half a dozen. Even if they think they are better than Big Mom and Kaido, it won't help. With all their strength, if their Red Hair pirates are now fighting with the Wanjian pirates, they will be 100% pressed to the ground and rubbed against the ground, and they will not be able to escape. Beckman saw that Shanks kept his head down and said nothing, patted him on the shoulder and said, the breath of Shanks on the bottom of the sea is getting weaker and weaker, the demon fruit power fell into the sea. Even if she is a top powerhouse, she won't be able to hold on for long, so I should hurry up and make up my mind. Facing the current situation, no matter how smart Beckman is, he can't do anything about it. After all, Moran has no intention of making a deal with them now that he doesn't get paid, so the Red Hair Pirates have only two choices now. Either fight with the Wanjian Pirates, hold back all the strong members of the Wanjian Pirates and send someone to save Big Mom, or just leave here and leave Big Mom alone. Not only will they not be able to save Big Mom, they will hear too, it's just self-deception. However, Beckman does not agree with saving people. After all, the gap between the top powerhouses of the two sides is too large. If you want to hold back the combat members of the Wanjian Pirates, you can only try to hold them back, but their Red Hair Pirates will definitely suffer heavy losses. And whether it will be successful is still unknown, maybe their Red Hair Pirates will die here today, and he feels that the loss outweighs the gain. Although Beckman thought so in his heart, he didn't know what Shanks was thinking, so he didn't say it, so as not to affect the morale of their Red Hair Pirates, he could only put this pressure on Shanks. No matter what decision Shanks made, they will do it without hesitation, even if it is to start a war with the Fangjian Pirates. And Kaido has been staring at Uchiha Itachi. Since he came here, his eyes have never left Uchiha Itachi, because even if the attacks of other members of the Wanjian Pirates cannot be avoided, they will not be killed. Pervert-like recovery ability, as long as he is not fatally injured, he can recover. Asking for flowers. But he dare not forget the sense of crisis that Uchiha Itachi's black flame gave him, and now that the two sides are so close, he can only keep staring at Uchiha Itachi. As long as Uchiha Itachi makes a slight move, he will run away immediately, he doesn't care Shanks their life and death. The reason why he is willing to come here is just for show. After all, he and Big Mom are allies, and his men were all killed by the Wanjian Pirates. If he doesn't come here for show, he will think about it later. It will not be so easy to pull up a team. After all, no one wants to follow a captain who is greedy for life and afraid of death. 0. Big Mom's death doesn't matter much to him, he's not as nosy as Shanks, life is the biggest thing in the world. Shanks heard what Beckman said, and continued to be silent for a long time before raising his head, took a deep look at Moran, and turned around without hesitation and said, "Let's go." Shanks walked towards his ship. Without turning his head, he said, "Dragon King Moran. I hope you won't regret the decision you made today." Moran was still lying on the recliner with his eyes squinted, without even looking at Shanks. Hearing what Shanks said before he left, his face gradually became dangerous, and he directly threatened, "I will never regret the decision I made, and follow me again if it beeps. You Red Hair Pirates don't have to leave today, just stay and be with Big Mom." Chapter 315. The Red Hair Pirates fleeing in panic. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. 285. 74. 249. When Moran heard Shanks' unfriendly tone, he immediately threatened Shanks, not saving any face for Shanks. Shanks is always jumping in front of him. Moran has already seen him unhappy. He sometimes thinks, how about killing this B***************, and save him from always jumping in front of him clatter. When the members of the Wanjian Pirates heard Moran's words, red lights flashed in their eyes, and their aura was full of viciousness for a while, as if they were ready to strike at any time. Now, as long as Moran gives an order, today the Red Hair Pirates everyone in the Wanjian Pirates must die here. There are several top experts in the Wanjian Pirates. They really have the strength to kill you. The members of Red Hair Pirates couldn't help but quicken their pace when they heard Moran's words and sensed the terrifying aura behind them. Shanks felt the momentum behind him and was speechless for a while. He just wanted to save face when he left. He didn't really want to fight with the monsters of the Wanjian Pirates, so he couldn't help speeding up his pace. Ready to sail, ready to sail. My mother, what a terrifying aura. This kind of momentum is not weaker than the boss at all, and there are several of them. If there was a real fight just now, we probably wouldn't be able to give Wanjian Pirates enough teeth. Don't talk so much nonsense, hurry up and prepare to sail, and sail when the boss gets on the boat, so as not to have long nights and dreams. The members of the Red Hair Pirates who were still sitting on the railing of the ship saw several combat members of the Wanjian Pirates bursting into arrogance, looking like they were about to kill them. Quan Lien scrambled and crawled to start the ship. When a few people were talking just now, the boat of Red Hair Pirates had already approached, and now the distance between the two boats was only a few meters, and they heard everything that happened on the boat and the conversations verbatim, so now I feel extremely they were so flustered because of the aura erupted by several combat members of the Sword Pirates. Not to mention their weak panic, now even Shanks and Kaido are flustered in their hearts, but they don't show it on the surface, they just speed up their pace and rush back to their own boat. Shanks returned to his boat in a short while, and directly ordered Beckman, "Beckman, you order to go down immediately, and leave here as quickly as possible." Beckman didn't move when he heard Shanks' words, but looked towards the sea and replied, "Before we got back to the boat, they were already preparing to sail, so why do we need to give orders?" Shanks looked at the speed of the ship several times faster than usual, and complained with black lines on his face. These guys ran so fast and thought it was me. Shanks was afraid of the Fangjian Pirates if they didn't know it. Beckman saw his stubborn mouth, and asked blankly, "Then how about I ask them to stop the boat, and then let you fight with those monsters?" When Shanks heard what Beckman said, he quickly waved his hands and said with embarrassment, "I'm just joking, don't take it seriously." The few people looked at the Wanjian Pirates ship that was getting farther and farther away, and none of them spoke again, because they were all thinking that when they were about to leave just now, the aura that broke out from those few people was not as good as that. They are weak, and they are all secretly thankful that they didn't fight just now, otherwise they probably have to explain it here today. And Kaido finally understood at this time why his subordinates haven't appeared until now. It's hard not to die against these monsters. After Kaido knew that there were so many strong men on board the 10,000 Swords pirates, he stopped yelling to find his subordinates by himself, but followed the red hair pirates to find them. It was better to collect their corpses than to find them. After all, if you think about it, you know that these people are probably in danger. Arturia saw Shanks jumping 217 and returning to Shanks' boat, and Moran asked, Master Moran, do you want us to keep the red hair pirates? Not only Arturia looked at Moran, but several other combat members on the ship looked at Moran, all of them showed a look of expectation. It was obvious that they hadn't played enough today, except for Tornado fighting a 5 emperors. Except for one game, the others still haven't enjoyed fighting with the cadres. After all, these cadres are too weak for them. Moran looked at the red hair pirates who were slowly going away, shook his head and replied with a lack of interest. Leaving them now is not good for us at all, it is better to keep them to show us our future territory. Now we have too few members in the Wanjian Pirates, and we can't manage too many sites at once, so let them play for a while. Chapter 316. Amaterasu Flame Burns Big Mom. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. 285. 74. 249. After listening to Moran's explanation, everyone on the boat nodded thoughtfully, and they didn't ask any more questions, but all looked at Moran anxiously, waiting for his next order. Moran didn't give an order right away, but closed his eyes and diffused the knowledge, and then swept the knowledge to the bottom of the sea, and found that the ant still had a breath. Being able to last for so long can only be said to be the emperor of the new world. After Moran locked onto Big Mom's position, he raised his hand and a mass of green energy spread out, and then the sea level began to bubble up. Puff puff puff, puff puff. Wow. After a while, a huge ball of seawater surfaced from the sea, and then floated in midair, while the ant was half dead and trapped in a round ball of seawater. Seeing that the ant was still breathing, Longwan floated up and poked the round water polo, and said with a cute and curious look, Ah. This big fat woman is not dead yet, but she seems to have passed out. Moran saw that Tornado approached him like a curious baby, and immediately said with a black face, Tornado, come back to me quickly, we will go back after killing her, we have enough time to delay here long time. Oh, come back when you come back, why are you so fierce? Tornado floated back slowly with a pouting face, complaining as he floated back. Moran didn't bother to talk to this little girl, and looked directly at Uchiha Itachi and said, Itachi don't want to have long nights and dreams, just send Amaterasu to this fat woman, so that this fat woman will die completely. Master Moran. After Uchiha Itachi responded, he directly activated the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and launched the Sharingan facing the ball of water. Amaterasu. A group of pitch-black flames appeared directly around the water polo out of thin air, and then began to burn the water polo. The seawater became less and less, and the black flame covered the entire water polo after a while. Just now Moran put in a lot of seawater for convenience, leaving just enough water to enlarge the mother. The water polo was evaporated by the black flames in a short while, and began to burn the ant in the water polo. Damn. What is this? The ant was in a coma, and when the black flames started to burn into her body, she was immediately woken up, but when she woke up, the black flames had covered her whole body, and now she could only wait to die or commit suicide. There is no other way to go, because this black flame will never die until it burns the target. The ant tried various methods but could not extinguish the black flame. She could only delay the burning of the black flame by covering Hawkeye all over her body, but it was only a temporary solution, not the root cause. He immediately understood what was going on. The black flame must be the work of Moran. Thinking of the ant here, she directly asked Moran, who was not far away, Dragon King boy, is this black flame your fault? Seeing his ant staring at him angrily, Moran replied lazily, you fell into the sea just now, and after I fished you out, I was afraid you would catch a cold, so I let you dry it. What is your attitude now? Asking for flowers. Moran knew that the ant was just dying, and the Amaterasu flame would consume her in a short time, so he was not in a hurry at all, and still squinted his eyes and looked at the ant in midair while lying on the recliner. Moran didn't withdraw his superpower, so Big Mom has been dragged in midair by his superpower all the time, and now Big Mom, who is extremely weak, can't break free from his control, so she can only float in midair and bark at them, but there is nothing to do with them. 0. Andy felt that the little physical strength left in her body and Hawkeye were disappearing at a rapid speed, and the black flames were slowly burning her body, and she immediately became anxious. It would not take long for her to be killed by the black flames at this speed. Burnout. Thinking of the ant here, knowing that time is precious now, she asked Moran directly, what do you want to let me go? Gold, silver, jewelry or devil fruit, as long as I have everything I have, I will give it to you. Moran heard the ant's inquiry, and replied casually, this black flame will not be extinguished until it burns the target, so you don't have to waste time on me, because I can't stop this black flame. Off. When the ant heard this, her heart was ashamed, and she yelled at Moran directly, Dragon Emperor Moran, you be asterisk 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 DB asterisk 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 D, I can't stop with you. Thump. Chapter 317. Jealous Violet. After Moran finished speaking, he directly threw the ant into the sea. Originally, he wanted to see the ant die before going back, but the fat woman would not be able to die for a while, so he just threw it back into the sea and let her burn slowly. He didn't have the habit of listening to others scolding him. It would be cheaper for him to let her die directly. This kind of life would be better than death if he was burned by the flames. It was suitable for her. Anyway, it is a matter of time before death is covered by the flames of Amaterasu. Even if rescued by someone, it will be a dead end, so he is not worried at all about whether the ant will die or not. After finishing all this, Moran closed his eyes straight, 1 2 3, and said, "Let's go back. It's meaningless to stay here any longer. It's better to go back and sleep." Arturia saw that the sea was bubbling, looked at Moran and asked, "Master Moran, this ant is not dead, so it's really okay to leave her alone like this." Obviously, Arturia still doesn't know the horror of this black flame. If she knew the characteristics of this black flame, she probably wouldn't ask such a question. Before Moran could explain, Uchiha Itachi, who stood beside him, explained, "The flame of Amaterasu will not be extinguished until it burns the target completely, so Big Mom is just dying early or late now, being burned by this kind of flame. If you want to save yourself, you can only cut off the burnt part, ant has been covered in flames, and it is hopeless." Moran waited for Uchiha Itachi to finish explaining, and directly ordered, "Okay, don't worry about this fat woman. If this doesn't kill her, it's her life. Let's go back." "It's the captain." After the members of Wanjian pirates responded, they started to drive the boat and sail slowly towards de Rosa. Seeing that everyone started to get busy, the little girl Long Wan quietly floated onto Moran's body, and then, like an octopus, lay on Moran's body to hear the news. Moran felt his body sinking, opened his eyes and glanced at the tornado, and asked angrily, "You are really like a little sparrow, and you have made a home on me, right?" Long Wan raised his head without saying a word, just looked at Moran with a pair of big watery eyes, with a little expression like, "If you say another word, I will cry for you." Seeing the kawaii appearance of Tornado, Moran couldn't bear to continue talking about her, so he just took a sip. Then Moran hugged the kawaii pillow, closed his eyes and said, "We haven't closed our eyes for a few days, let's take a rest." Tornado didn't make a fuss anymore, but lay down on Moran's body with a smile on his face, closed his eyes and rested. The other members of the boat saw the appearance of the tornado, and they were no strangers to it. After all, this was not the first time, but basically they saw this scene every day, so they had nothing to do except envy. They don't have the small and exquisite figure of Tornado. After the few people on the boat started the boat, there was no need for so many people to watch, only one person looked in the direction, and the rest of the people gathered together to chat. After all, a battle has just ended, and this is the first time that several people who are not members of the battle participated in the battle, so these people gathered together and chatted non-stop, and their ship was getting closer and closer to de Rosa. Open black lens bracket de Rosa port close black lens bracket. At this time, there are not as many people in the port of de Rosa as it was at the beginning. This battle has been fought for several days, with lightning, thunder and explosions caused by various collisions every day. The citizens of de Rosa have become numb, so those who are still at the port are just some people watching the excitement, or some people who have nothing to do, and other people who have things to do have already gone back to their homes to find their mothers. It is worth mentioning that the members of the King Liku clan seem to be living in this port these days. After all, the members of the Wanjian pirates are fighting for them. Return of the Sword Pirates. Rebecca was standing on the edge of the port and looking at Violet next to her. At this time, Violet was making 2 circles with both hands and placing them in front of her eyes, looking in the direction of the sea as if observing something. Seeing her staring at her for so long without saying a word, Rebecca asked with a worried look, "Violet Aunt, have you seen Lord Moran? How are they now? Did they have 4.1 injuries?" When Violet heard Rebecca's 3 consecutive questions, she immediately became angry and complained bitterly, "Aunt, I've been away for so many years and I haven't seen you, little girl, in such a hurry. Now the Dragon Emperor has only been out for a few days. That's all, this little girl is already in such a hurry, it's really a girl who doesn't want to stay." Violet was pulled over every day as a coolie, and she was asked to use clairvoyance to watch the battle situation, and then report the situation to this little girl. She had to be pulled over several times a day to make sure Moran was safe before giving up. Chapter 318. Shy Rebecca. Near the port of de Rosa. 1,000 meters away from de Rosa, there is a ship slowly approaching the port of de Rosa, and you can tell that it is the ship of the 10,000 Swords Pirates without looking at it, because the lifelike dragon head, in the waters of the New World, there are not many people who don't know each other. Scarlet is still using her clairvoyance ability to scan the sea in front of her. Since the sea is surrounded by seawater, and the pirate world is a spherical shape, she wants to find Moran and the others. Simple thing. And Rebecca looked at Scarlet with a worried look on her face. Although she had to experience this kind of thing several times a day, she still couldn't help thinking about it, so she frequently asked Scarlet to use her ability to check the situation. Seeing that Scarlet had been searching for so long but failed to find it, Rebecca cautiously suggested again, "Aunt Scarlet, we just checked a few hours ago, why don't you check where they were before? Did you find it?" Scarlet heard Rebecca's words, glanced at her, and replied angrily, "You little girl thinks about your relationship too simply. For a powerhouse of their level, a little movement is enough with a distance of hundreds of thousands of meters. They don't know where they are after calling for hours, so what's the use of checking the original place carat?" After listening to Scarlet's explanation, Rebecca nodded thoughtfully, and thought to herself, no wonder it took so long to find Scarlet Ant every time. So big. At this time, a small black dot fell into the range of Scarlet's clairvoyance, and she looked carefully and knew that it was the ship of the Wanjian pirates. When Scarlet saw the Wanjian pirates' ship coming back, she knew the battle should be over. Although she didn't know the result of the battle, she estimated that the Wanjian pirates should have won the battle, because according to her observation today, the Wanjian pirates have always had the upper hand in this battle, so they have no reason to lose. Moreover, she also saw that everyone on the ship was in good condition, and with their lively chatting appearance, it didn't look like a defeated party. It was simply wishing in bed after the war went well. Thinking of this, Scarlet withdrew her clairvoyance ability, looked at Rebecca who was looking at her eagerly, and said with a sigh of relief, "The Wanjian pirates' ship is approaching here, the battle is probably over." "It's over, your old friend is safe and sound, now you can rest assured, right?" Scarlet also breathed a sigh of relief when she saw the ship of the Wanjian pirates come back. After all, if Moran and the others lose, not only the Wanjian pirates will end badly, but also the kingdom of Riasrosa. It won't be any better. When Rebecca heard Scarlet say that Moran was her old friend, her face turned red to the ears in an instant. She lowered her head and said shyly, "Scarlet Aunt, don't talk nonsense, we are just good friends." Seeing her shy look, Scarlet joked with a smile. Yes, you and Lord Dragon King are just good friends, just good enough to talk about marriage. HMPH. I'm ignoring you. After all, Rebecca is just a teenage girl, but Scarlet, an opponent who has been confused among the pirates, can make Rebecca speechless in a few words. The distance of 1,000 meters on the sea is not too far. Just as the two of them were chatting, the ship of the Wanjian pirates had arrived at the port and was preparing to land on Riasrosa. After getting everything ready, Robin, the navigator, came to the deck chair and looked at Moran who was still resting and asked, "Captain, we have arrived in Riasrosa, should we land now or rest at the port first? Is it enough to log in?" Moran slowly opened his eyes, glanced towards the port and said, "I've been at sea for several days, I don't want to continue floating at sea, I'd better land in Riasrosa first." "Understood the captain." Robin responded and went to ask other people to come out. They usually landed on the island where they got money together. Only keep people on the boat when you are in a dangerous area or when you know someone is coming to make trouble. Crack, not. Moran squinted his eyes and watched Robin walk away, then patted the octopus-like Tornado on his body and said, "We've arrived Tornado, can you come down now?" When Tornado heard Moran's words, he raised his head and frowned and glanced at Moran. After Moran stopped, he lay down again and continued to burrow into Moran's arms. Chapter 319. The battle is over, return to Riasrosa. When Moran saw this little girl crawling into his arms again, she immediately became one head and too big, but thinking that she must be tired from fighting with the 5 emperors for so long these days, so Moran couldn't bear to talk about the Tornado, just let her continue to rely on herself. Thinking of this, Moran didn't make Tornado feel sad anymore, but directly hugged her and stood up and walked towards the railing. Tornado hugged her neck directly, hanging on it. The little head was resting directly on Moran's shoulder. And behind the shoulder that Moran couldn't see, Tornado narrowed his eyes and showed a small expression on his face that the plot was successful. You don't need to guess that she is pretending on purpose. Since she came to Pirate World, her weak physical defense and physique have been added to the full level by Moran, a rich guy. So it's only been a few days, how can it be really? I'm too tired to move. 1. Not to mention just fighting for 3 or 4 days, a powerhouse of her current level can fight for another 4 or 5 days without any problem. What's more, if she is a rambunctious superpower like her, she just waved her hand casually on the sea, and the enemy has to do her best to resist. As long as it is not an enemy that can fly, encountering a tornado on the sea will only lead to death, because her superpowers are really shameless. You see that the members of the Wanjian pirates have returned, does this mean that the battle is over? Everyone in the Wanjian pirates came back unscathed. I don't think it's just as simple as the end of the battle. They probably came back after winning the battle. The 2 sea emperors of New World can win together, how powerful is the Wanjian pirates? The battle lasted for several days, but everyone in the Wanjian pirates was unscathed, and they didn't even have any injuries. Those who knew they were going to fight, but those who didn't know thought they were on vacation. After this battle, the Wanjian pirates will soon become the most powerful pirate group in New World. At this time, the citizens who were still watching the excitement at the port saw Moran and the others get off the boat one after another, and seeing their unscathed appearance, these people were beyond shocked. I completely forgot that this is the 5 Emperor pirates, 1 or 2 are talking about it. If you usually encounter pirates of this level, these people will hide a little far away, but now they are abnormally there commenting, I guess I was so shocked that I forgot to hide. Moran's current appearance is actually not like a person who has just returned from a battle. Not only is his hair not messy at all, his clothes are also neat and tidy, and he is holding a little girl in his arms. This is not like a person who has just returned from a battle. What? It is said that they just came back after going on vacation for a few days, probably no one doubts this statement. At this time, Rebecca, who was waiting at the port not far away, saw that Moran had disembarked and trotted over. While running, she was happy and worried, and asked, Master Moran, you are back, why have you been fighting for so long? Not hurt. Scarlet, who was following Rebecca, rolled her eyes when she heard the little girl's words, and said secretly in her heart, this guy doesn't look hurt at all, what was he like when he left a few days ago? What is it like now? If he didn't know that he was going to fight, he would suspect that this guy just came back from vacation. Asking for flowers. Moran saw the haggard Rebecca in front of him, and he knew what was going on without thinking about it, probably because he was worried about him being so haggard. Thinking of this, Moran showed a fart and said, how could these wine bags and rice bags hurt me? If it wasn't because I let them have one hand, how could it be possible to beat them for so long? If I use all my strength, I will kill these people. People are like picking up and killing an ant. PFF'd. I know how to brag. Rebecca burst out laughing when she heard Moran's funny words. After Rebecca laughed for a while, seeing Moran staring at her with a smile, she immediately blushed and lowered her head, pinching the corners of her skirt with a pair of small hands and feeling at a loss, with nowhere to put her hands restlessly. After seeing the two of them stop, Scarlet took 2 steps forward and said, "Congratulations, Mr. Dragon King Guy, for your return. We have already prepared a feast for you in the palace. Now when you walk over to the palace, the banquet will be ready for you. It should be almost ready. May I ask if we go directly to the palace or not?" After Scarlet finished speaking in one breath, she quietly waited for Moran's answer. It was the first time for her to have such close contact with Moran. Looking at Moran, who was right in front of her eyes, she secretly thought, this Dragon King my lord is really an out-and-out evildoer. Not only is his strength terrifying, but even his appearance is so good-looking. How can there be such a perfect man in the world? Chapter 320. Rebecca is like waiting for the return of the king. It's a pity that such a perfect man as Lord Dragon Emperor is Rebecca, a little girl's man. Let her, aunt, go to snatch Rebecca's man. She still can't do such a foolish thing, and she can't get over the hurdle in her heart. But even if Scarlet can really get over the hurdle in his heart, Moran is not interested in her, because he doesn't like girls like Scarlet, and she doesn't like her, so it's not whether she can get over it. The question in my heart is whether Moran can like her. The answer is of course not. Just when Scarlet was thinking wildly, Moran just glanced at her, then withdrew his gaze and said, I happen to be a little hungry now, so I'll go straight to the palace. After Moran finished speaking, he hugged the tornado and took the lead, and the others followed Moran's footsteps one after another. The surrounding people who were just watching the excitement and commenting, after gradually recovering from the shock, they all rushed to leave here, for fear of being blamed by the people of the Wanjian pirate. Same. However, everyone in the Wanjian pirates didn't bother to talk to these people. These were just a group of ordinary people watching the fun. They were not murderers, so of course they wouldn't really care about these ordinary people. When Moran entered the interior of the island, he found that the collapsed houses and other things on the island have almost been repaired now. It is really more effective in terms of having a group of small people to help build houses. The people of the Wanjian pirates slowly walked towards the palace, and the passers-by gave way to them one after another. Moran, the name of the 5 emperors of the New World, is quite useful. Most people would shy away from them when they saw them, as if they had something to do with them. A little bit of relationship is like losing your life. Moran also knew that this kind of situation would be inevitable after he became famous, so he was already prepared for it. And when he was doing Shichibukai before, although he was not as exaggerated as he is now, this experience also made him a little bit prepared. So for the current situation, he just took a look and ignored these people. Anyway, he would not have any intersection with these people. Not long after, Moran brought everyone to the palace, and King Liku and others had been waiting here for a long time. The banquet prepared for the Wanjian pirates had been prepared, and they were waiting for them to come to hold a banquet. When King Liku saw Moran and others coming, he went up to greet him, and congratulated him when he came close. Congratulations to Mr. Dragon Emperor Guy for his return. You should all be hungry, right? I've already prepared a banquet for you guys, specially for you guys to come back and clean up the dust. Moran looked at the banquet set up not far away, and didn't sit down, but asked with a puzzled look, I haven't said anything about the result of the battle since I came back. How do you know we won the battle? And them. Moran was quite sure that since he landed in Deris Rosa, he had never mentioned anything related to the battle at all, so this news did not leak from him. And Kaido and the people from Red Hair Pirates are not going in this direction, and the people who know the result are no longer on this island, and he did not leak it here, so King Liku and the others knew the result of the battle in advance, which made him puzzled his sister. Hearing Moran's inquiry, Mimi followed Rebecca behind Moran, blushing for no reason. It was obvious that this matter was related to her. Hearing Moran's question, King Liku looked at Rebecca with a strange expression on his face. Seeing her lower her head quickly, she shook her head and said, It's a long story about Mr. Dragon Emperor. Say it. Moran didn't refuse anymore. After walking to the main seat and sitting down, he ordered, Everyone has been fighting for several days, and they haven't had a good meal in the past few days. Let's sit down and eat and don't talk. Quote. It's the captain. After Moran sat down, the 980 tornado that had been hanging on his body was embarrassed to pretend to be asleep, and slowly floated up and found a place to sit, while the others also found a place to sit, and started without saying a word. Eliminate food on the table. After eating and talking, Moran finally understood what was going on. It turned out that Rebecca, a little girl, was worried about his accident, so she took Scarlet to the port from time to time, and used her ability to observe their battles. Yesterday King Liku and the others already knew that the 2 pirate groups of Big Mom and Kaido only had 2 captains, Big Mom and Kaido, and it would be a matter of time before the Wanjian pirates won. So after they learned the news yesterday, they came back and were always ready to clean up the dust for Moran and others. Rebecca also knew the news yesterday, but she still couldn't help worrying, so she took Scarlet to the port to observe as always, and she didn't feel relieved until she knew that Sao Lan and the others were safe. Chapter 321. The Forgotten Injustice System. Everyone in the Wanjian pirates was grabbing food the whole time, but King Liku and the others basically didn't eat much, they just chatted with them the whole time. Rebecca also kept her head down and didn't say a word the whole time, but she could tell what was going on just by looking at her red face, so everyone looked at her with a thoughtful look, a discerning person. Everyone knew that this little girl would be Moran's man sooner or later. Moran didn't say anything about it. After all, one of the purposes of her coming to Derice Rosa this time is Rebecca, so this is what he wants to see, and he can't wait for this too. Seeing this situation, the girls on the Wanjian pirates knew that they had another competitor, and they were secretly thinking. They ran out to eat outside before the food on the boat was finished. Eat what's in the bowl and look at what's in the pot. If Moran knew what they were thinking, he would definitely stand up and shout. 133 children only make choices, and adults want them all. As long as he likes them, he will try his best to get them. Otherwise, wouldn't it be a waste of a lifetime chance? The banquet in the palace lasted for several hours before it ended. Everyone who had eaten and drank enough went back to rest. After all, they have been fighting non-stop for the past few days, or watching the battle from the sidelines, and have never rested at all. After relaxing at this time, I began to feel tired, especially those who were not combat members. They did not have the pervert physique of Moran. After the banquet, Moran went directly back to the high ground of the king, and it was only noon, so he didn't go to rest, but wanted to go to the high ground to bask in the sun. The palace where the banquet was held just now is not Moran, the highland of the king, but King Liku has rebuilt a palace next to the highland in the past few days, but CBBH, it is not finished yet, just completed a conference room palace. There are also several resting palaces for the royal family of Liku. And now this king's highland is the temporary residence of the Wanjian pirates. King Liku intends to leave this highland palace to the Wanjian pirates, and then he will rebuild a palace under the highland. In the future, as long as the Wanjian pirates people in the group can have a place to live whenever they come here. Moran came to the top of the high ground after a few flashes from under the high ground, and then lay lazily on the recliner and shouted directly in his heart. The system will open my personal page for me. Summoning lottery system. Host. Alphad. Moran. Identity. Captain of Wanjian pirates. One of the 5 emperors of the New World. Age. 21. Abilities. Psychic ability, Thunder Fruit ability. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Rinnegan, Chakra, Wood Style. Advanced Observation Haki. 7,508 thousandths. Advanced Armament Haki. 7,508 thousandths. Advanced Conqueror's Haki. 7,608 thousandths. Advanced Physical Skills. 8,008 thousandths. Marine 6 Styles. Moonwalk, Shaved 7,008 thousandths. Great Swordsman. 7,508 thousandths. Strength. Admiral Advanced. Pele. 165 billion 30 million. Host, have you finally remembered that you have a system? Moran touched his nose in embarrassment when he heard the system's resentful words. He couldn't do anything about the system's low presence. Who told him that this is not a system like check-in or tasks, but a system related to money? As long as he has money, he can get everything he wants. That's why I frequently look for the system. But now he has so much money that he can't spend it all and has less and less contact with the system. It can't be blamed that he often forgets the system, right? Thinking of this, Moran argued confidently. Other people's systems ding from time to time. Your system can't break a fart in 10 days and a half months. How can you tell me? Always remember you. So, a monster. Of course, you don't blame who you blame. Host, you just don't want to make a face. The system thought that when this host first came to this world, it was still a unique uncle. Since when did this uncle gradually become this host? In fact, it is not difficult to understand. In this system, if you have money, you are the uncle. At the beginning, when Moran had no money, he was the uncle. Now that Moran has grown up, his identity has been reversed immediately. Moran is not very dependent on the system now, but the system needs Moran to help it upgrade, so now Moran can hold the system firmly. Can the world travel card in the system mall allow me to go to the Rocks era of Pirate World? Moran started talking about the real business after messing with the system for a while. He wants to go back to the past to do something, to meet monsters from decades ago, and he doesn't know whether the monsters of that era are stronger or the monsters of this era are stronger. Chapter 322. He is serious about exploiting system loopholes. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. More. 562. 141. 187. The host world travel card can't go back to the past, it can only go to different world planes. However, if host just wants to go back to a few decades ago and see something, instead of changing history, it's not impossible. Regarding Moran's thoughtless inquiry, the system also patiently introduced it. It has no choice but to upgrade now, and it doesn't work if it doesn't want to work hard. After listening to the system's introduction to the world travel card, Moran was overjoyed. Although he also has some history that he wants to change, if he can't change it, the impact will not be great. I can. 283. To meet the One Piece King Gall D. Roger, and Pirate Overlord Rocks is also good. However, since the system can bring itself back to the decades before Pirate World, why can't it change the history? Could it be that even if he changes the history, the world will automatically restore itself, or is there some other irresistible reason? Moran, who didn't want to understand after thinking for a while, asked the system directly, since you can let me go back to the past, why can't you let me change history? Because the world travel card can only travel through world planes, but cannot travel back in time, so host can only go to the parallel world of Pirate World, but not to the decades ago in the real world. So even if the host changes the history, it will not affect the history of the real world, because what the host changes is only the history of the parallel world, not the history of the real world. After the system's introduction, Moran still asked with a puzzled look, if the system wants you to say that, how can I be sure if I can travel to the Rocks era if I travel to a parallel world? Host doesn't have to worry about this problem. The plot of the parallel world is similar to the real world, and when traveling to the past, the host can choose to travel to the past timeline, and there is no need to worry about traveling to other timelines. After listening to the introduction of the system, Moran was silent for a while, then his eyes lit up, and he asked excitedly, since the world travel card can choose the timeline to travel through, then I will use other worlds as a springboard to travel back to the sea of reality. When you were thieves in the world, if you chose to travel to the Rocks era, wouldn't you be able to go back in time? System. Host, you are such a clever little ghost. Hearing the speechless tone of the system, Moran said with a smile, ha 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 hiccup. Thank you for the compliment, thank you for the reward. Seeing Moran flustered like this, the system gritted its teeth and said, do as the host said, theoretically you can go back to the past, but this needs to be verified by the host himself, and the system will not be responsible for any accidents. Moran didn't take it to heart when he heard the stubborn words of the system. He was serious about taking advantage of the loopholes in the system. The world travel card only needs 2 billion, and a round trip is only a few billion. If you really listen to this dog system, to buy an ability that can travel through time and space, it is impossible without tens of billions, because he has never seen the ability about time, and the countless zeros behind it, it's just outrageously expensive. The reason why this world tour only needs 2 billion is because this card is a one-time item, and it can only stay for a period of time in the past. If this is a permanent ability, it is estimated that it will not be able to afford it after selling it. When Moran came back to his senses, he didn't know how long it had passed, and the system didn't speak anymore, probably he was hiding and sulking. Moran didn't care if the system was throwing a temper tantrum, and said directly to the system, the master of the system wants to spend money, so hurry up and come out to me. Master host, what do you need to buy? As soon as the system heard that Moran wanted to consume, it immediately ran out to entertain, as if it was entertaining distinguished guests, and its qualifications were as low as it wanted. This system should be a mess of the heavens and the world. Worst system ever. In other systems, the host looks at the face of the system to act, but here it is directly reversed. The system has to look at the face of the host every day. It can be said that it is as bad as it wants. Moran didn't talk nonsense anymore, and said directly, the system gave me 2.6 to randomly summon characters. Moran wants to arrange the real world properly before going out to make waves. Just in case, he wants to summon 1 or 2 more characters to increase the fighting power of the Wanjian pirates, so that even if he is not here, they will not be here if anything happens. You can handle it yourself. Now the whole cards on his boat are almost all revealed, and he will take this opportunity to summon 1 or 2 characters as whole cards. He will never let others have how many whole cards he has, so as long as the whole cards are revealed, he will summon or buy abilities. Anyway, he will never run out of cards with the system. Chapter 323, Summon Orochimaru. Just when the system was about to start summoning characters, Moran suddenly remembered something and shouted, the system doesn't summon yet. Hearing Moran's sudden call to stop, the system asked in an unlovable tone, my master host, what are you going to do? As if he couldn't hear the system's resentful words, Moran asked directly, after the system summons the character this time, you should be able to break through, right? Moran is not just summoning 1 or 2 characters this time, he also needs to buy several world travel cards, and upgrade the characters after summoning, which is not a small amount of money. Let's break through. The system is already stuck on the verge of upgrading, and the 760 Baileys that host will consume this time is not a system upgrade, shouldn't it? The system didn't mean to hide it either. As soon as Moran finished asking the upgrade question, it admitted it very barefacedly. When Moran heard the system's answer, he showed a look that was indeed the case, and then asked directly, will the summoning function disappear after the system is upgraded, and how long does it take for the system to upgrade? Moran also asked this question before, but the system said it didn't know, so Moran has been delaying to let it upgrade, but he didn't believe what the system said. How can he not know what is after the upgrade? What kind of reason? Didn't you ask the question about host? The system doesn't know if the summoning function will disappear after the upgrade, so don't ask the host. When Moran heard the answer from the dog system, he immediately closed his eyes and said with a sloppy look, since you don't know what it looks like after upgrading, let me think about whether to summon characters or not. Bar. Master host, how long do you need to think about it? Maybe a day, maybe a month, maybe a year, I don't know how long it will take to think about it. It depends on your mood. When you are in a good mood, maybe you can think about it right away. Quote. System. This dog host is definitely intentional, and the time to think about it depends on your mood. Isn't this a hint of Sina? If you don't tell him the information after the system upgrade, it is estimated that this dog host can really think about it for a year or so. Thinking of the system here, I can only beg for mercy. Host is not because the system doesn't want to tell you, but because you don't have enough authority before the upgrade, the system can't tell you, so you can just spend it. Host don't have to worry about being unfavorable after the upgrade. The system upgrade is just to optimize the system function, and it will only become more and more powerful to the host. There will never be any situation that is unfavorable to the host. After listening to the system CBDF system's explanation, Moran's eyes suddenly lit up. He seemed to have grasped an important piece of information in the system's words, and tentatively asked, The system upgrade is only to optimize the system function, that is, the function will not disappear. Is the upgrade just to optimize the system function? Host, you said it yourself, but this system didn't say anything. Moran heard the system's words to clarify the relationship, and joked with a smile. Yes, the system just reminded me, the system didn't say anything, okay. System. After Moran figured out the general situation of the system upgrade, he knew that the summoning function would not disappear, so he had no worries, and directly ordered, the system will summon characters for me. Deducting 6.4 billion Baileys from random summoned characters. A summoning gate radiating golden light appeared in front of Moran. The golden light of the summoning gate is getting stronger and stronger. Since the summoned characters are random this time, the Baileys needed for summoning have returned to normal, and tens of billions of Baileys are not needed. A man walked out from the golden summoning door. Long black hair, long golden pupils, purple eye shadow extending to the nose, pale skin, and blue earrings. Gives a sinister feel. Congratulations to the host for the successful summoning. For the summoned character, the system will directly enter the host information, One Piece world information into the character's mind. Character. Orochimaru. Gymnastics. Advanced. Skill. A bunch of ninjutsu. Weapon. Kusanagi sword. Loyalty. Max. Strength. Admiral Jr. Learn Haki proficiently, use Admiral Intermediate. Learn Advanced Haki Admiral Advanced, equal to 4 Emperors. Moran looked at the detailed information of Orochimaru in front of him. He didn't expect that the character summoned this time would be Orochimaru. This Orochimaru has no special abilities, all of his strength is acquired. There is no too powerful ultimate move, just some weird and ordinary ninjutsu. Chapter 324. Another summoned character with a seal. Moran saw that Orochimaru had learned a lot of ninjutsu in a mess, but none of them could be called a killer move, so he had to sigh with emotion. It is better to work hard to get a good baby than to study hard to become stronger the day after tomorrow. The protagonists in Hokage are all born with the ability of family blood, and Orochimaru has worked so hard for so long, but now the attribute board is still so horrible. Orochimaru's upper limit is not too high, even if Moran fills him up with Haki, it can't compare with those protagonists. Just like now Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara can defeat the strong Admiral high level, and Orochimaru, even if Moran fills him with Haki, it will be difficult for him to defeat the high-level Admiral alone. It is probably the same as the tornado. Open it. When Moran checked Orochimaru's attribute panel, Orochimaru finally received the memory that the system gave him directly, and was staring at Moran for more than 10 years before asking, "Are you Lord Moran?" Moran gradually recovered after hearing Orochimaru's question, and then replied, "Yes, I am, Orochimaru welcomes you." After hearing Moran's answer, Orochimaru checked his body left and right, and after finding nothing wrong, he said with a surprised face, "It's really amazing, I can be resurrected after death, and my body seems to have returned to the way it was when I was young. Woolen cloth. How does it feel to be resurrected? Excellent, thank you Master Moran for bringing me back to life. You're welcome, we will be partners from now on." After chatting with Orochimaru for a while, Moran thought he still had something to do and said, "I still have something to do here, so you should go get acquainted with this world first." "It's Lord Moran, then I'll go down first." Orochimaru also wants to learn about this world. After all, the information about this world in his mind is just some basic common sense. If you want to truly understand this world, you can only rely on yourself. Moran thought that Uchiha Itachi was down below, and the two knew each other again, so he said to Orochimaru, who was leaving, "Uchiha Itachi is in one of the palaces below. If you don't understand anything, you can ask him, regardless of your previous relationship. How? After coming here, you will be partners, do you understand?" "Understood, Lord Moran," Orochimaru responded and walked on without looking back. He wanted to go to Uchiha Itachi to find out the situation first. After all, the two came from the same world, and he was the best way to know the situation. Moran watched Orochimaru slowly disappearing at the stairs, and waited until he was completely out of sight before telling the system. "The system will buy me 6 ability upgrade cards, all of which will be used by Orochimaru, and all her 2-color Haki will be upgraded to advanced levels." With the deduction of 3 billion Baileys, the purchase ability upgrade card was successful. The 2-color Haki of the character has been successfully upgraded. Strength tips to Admiral Advanced. Moran is so proud now that he has money, so he doesn't need to teach him slowly, he can directly use the ability upgrade card to upgrade, forcing Grammon. After finishing Orochimaru's affairs, Moran said to the system will continue to summon characters for me. He is not only going to summon 1 character today, but 2 characters at once, because the 3 most powerful members of the Wanjian pirates are not here except him. If he wants to go out roaming with peace of mind, he has to arrange this place so that he can go out with peace of mind. Asking for flowers. Deducting 12.8 billion Baileys from random summoned characters. A summoning gate radiating golden light appeared in front of Moran. The golden light of the summoning gate is getting stronger and stronger. A man walked out from the golden summoning door. Short black hair, pale complexion, green eyes, and dark green Arancar lines resembling tear stains on his face. Oh. He was wearing a high-necked, long-sleeved jacket with a white face and black bottom, trimmed with black trim. Congratulations to the host for the successful summoning. For the summoned character, the system will directly enter the host information, One Piece world information into the character's mind. Character. Ulquiorra Cipher. Gymnastics. Advanced. Skill. A bunch. Weapon. Black Winged Demon, 2nd stage returning blade seal. Loyalty. Max. Strength. Admiral Junior. Learn Hockey proficiently. Use Admiral Intermediate. Learn Advanced Hockey. Admiral Advanced is equal to 4 Emperors. Moran also had a happy smile on his face when he saw the man who came out. Like Senju Hashirama, he had his own seal when he came. The reason why it is summoned is that it is in a sealed state, because the current system can only summon Admiral's primary characters, so if the character's strength is higher than Admiral's primary level, it will be sealed, but this seal can be lifted with money, just like Uchiha Madara and Senju like Hashirama, it comes with its own seal. Chapter 325. Is there a hell in Pirate World? This kind of character comes with a seal when summoned. As long as the seal is released, even if there is no Hockey, he can beat Admiral's high-level powerhouse, Accident. After Uchiha's cipher came out, he stood there without moving. Moran knew that he was receiving the memory directly from the system, so he didn't bother him, but waited quietly at the side. Time passed by, and Uchiha's cipher gradually came back to his senses. Seeing Moran looking at him, he walked up to Moran and asked, "Are you Lord Moran?" Moran saw this opening again, but he could only explain, "Yes, I am Moran. Welcome to Uchiha's cipher. You should already know that this is not your original world in 21, right?" Upon hearing Moran's words, Uchiha's cipher replied blankly, "That's right, the voice in my head has already told me that this is a brand new world, and it doesn't seem to be about the world after death. This world is really magical." Moran felt very awkward watching him say this with a blank face, but he still explained, "I don't know about the world after death in this world. I only heard about the souls coming back from the underworld, but I don't know I've seen it. Maybe there is such a place, but we don't know it." Moran thought of Brook, the guy with only bones left. He really said that he came back from the underworld, but no one in this world has seen it except Brook, and this guy was resurrected because of devil fruit, so where did he come back from? No one knows. Just like the blue star without gods and ghosts, there are countless legends, but no one has seen it with their own eyes. After listening to Moran's explanation, Uchiha's cipher guessed after being silent for a while. It should be that the powerful in this world are not strong enough, so they can't discover the world after death. As long as they are strong enough, they should be able to discover it. Quote. Moran heard Uchiha's cipher's guess and didn't refute it, because no one has ever seen it, and it's useless to refute it, but he also had a guess in his heart. All the strong in this world are physically strong, and the strong are only physical. They are cultivating in the physical body, and most of the devil fruit is only used for assistance. But ghosts and hells are invisible things, and no one has studied them, and there is no such thing as fantasy and cultivation here, so even if there are hells like hells, people in this world will not be able to discover them, right? This question is estimated to be only when he summons characters. He is lucky enough to summon people who have died in Pirate World, and then he can get the answer from the characters. Thinking of this, Moran put the problem behind him, looked at Uchiha's cipher and said, "This problem can't be figured out in a short time, let's solve the current problem first." Uchiha's cipher heard that Moran said to solve the current problem, and asked with a puzzled look, "Is there anything that needs to be solved now?" "Master Moran, do you have anything to solve? Just leave it to me, and I will definitely handle it for you." Seeing his positive appearance, Moran quickly waved his hands and explained, "I don't have something to solve, but I need to solve something about you. Don't you realize that you have a seal on your body?" Uchiha's cipher was just focusing on memory fusion and the affairs of the underworld. It wasn't until Lin Hao reminded him that he did have a seal on his body. If he didn't undo it, he wouldn't be able to return to the sword in the second stage, so his strength would be greatly reduced. Thinking of Uchiha's cipher here, he said to Moran in embarrassment, "I didn't notice this seal just now. If you can untie the seal, please Master Moran help me untie it." Seeing this guy's embarrassed look, Moran was secretly amazed. This guy has a famous poker face, and it's simply impossible for him to show an emotional expression. Thinking of this, Moran asked the system directly, "System, are you sure this is Uchiha's cipher, and 570 is not a fake? Please host, don't doubt the system casually. This is genuine Uchiha's cipher. If the host doesn't want it, the system can also be recycled, and there is no fee for recycling." Oh, Moran was just asking out of curiosity, how could it really be recycled, and he refused without thinking. "Don't say it's real, even if it's fake. I can't let you take it back. After all, I spent tens of billions on it." Summoned. Moran chatted with the system for a few more words, and when Uchiha's cipher couldn't wait for a reply and wanted to ask, he said, "Even if you don't tell me, I will unblock you. After all, I will to go out for a while. You still need to sit here for a while. If you are not strong enough, I don't feel relieved to go out." Uchiha's cipher heard Moran's reason for helping him unlock the seal, and said gratefully, "Thank you Lord Moran for helping me unlock the seal. From now on, my subordinates will do their best to complete whatever you ask them to do." Chapter 326. Finale. Interesting for you. Selena Gomez posts powerful bikini then and now. 285. 74. 249. When Moran heard Uchiha's cipher's words, he just nodded and didn't say much, but directly ordered the system. The system consumes 1 billion to unseal Uchiha's cipher. Okay, please wait a moment, host. Second stage returning blade unsealed. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, the second segment resection was successful, close black lens bracket. Uchiha's cipher felt that the power in his body had been unsealed. Before Moran could speak, he immediately bowed his head and thanked again. "Thank you Lord Moran for helping me unseal." When Moran heard Ulquiorra Cypher's thanks, he just waved his hand and said, "It's just a matter of effort for me, just let me thank you or something. If you don't have any other questions, you can go down first. You can learn about the world first. If there is anything you don't understand, just ask me." Yes. When Ulquiorra Cypher heard Moran's words, he didn't stay here too long, but turned around and left directly. Seeing that Ulquiorra Cypher had gone far away, Moran also stood up and left here. Tomorrow, he would travel back several decades, so he had to make some preparations. Next day, morning, in a splendid palace, all the members of the Wanjian pirates, except those who went out, are all gathered here. Moran is arranging for the development of the 10,000 swords pirates after he leaves. With Ulquiorra Cypher here, he is not worried about safety at all. He just asks them to discuss and decide together. If there is something that cannot be decided, just waiting for him to come back and deal with it. Moran took Robin to stand in the middle of the palace after giving instructions, and told the system in his heart, "I want to take Robin through the system, let's start directly. Open black lens bracket. OK. Host, please wait a moment, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Crossing in progress. Close black lens bracket. Beyond the world One Piece, travel through time in 1490 of the Hyuan calendar, this is an era of strong men like clouds, I wish the host a happy time." As soon as the system's notification tone fell, Moran and Robin disappeared directly in place, as if they had never appeared before. Seeing that Moran had left, everyone in the palace didn't stay here too much, but stood up and left the palace one after another. Everyone in Wanjian Pirates didn't feel any regrets, because Moran told them that he would return in a few days. Moran might go for a long time, but they just waited for a few days, so naturally there would be nothing. Reluctant, even Moran's daughters-in-law didn't have any reluctance, they were all doing what they should do. A million words omitted here. Time flies, 3 days have passed in a blink of an eye. In the palace 3 days ago, the Wanjian pirates gathered here again. Today is the time for Moran to come back. Although only 3 days have passed, they know that it must have been a long time since Moran was on the other side, so they all ran away come here to welcome Moran back. Everyone waited quietly, and after an unknown amount of time, a Uzumaki suddenly appeared in the middle of the palace, and then 2 people walked out of the Uzumaki. It was Moran who came out of Uzumaki, and his little wife Robin. Robin had a big belly at this time, obviously this was already the case. When everyone in the palace saw Robin's belly, their eyes almost popped out. They had only passed 3 days, and Robin's belly was at least 7 or 8 months old. How could they not be shocked? Just when everyone was still dazed, Tornado was the first to come back to his senses, and then floated in front of Robin. After looking up and down, he asked with a surprised face, "Robin has at least 7 or 8 stomachs. It's been a month, how long have you been there?" Hearing Tornado's question, Robin touched his stomach gently and replied, "I've been there with Moran for several years." What was time like decades ago? Is it any different from our time? As soon as Robin finished answering the words of the tornado, several women in the palace immediately gathered around, chattering and asking questions. Moran saw that these women would not be able to finish talking for a while, so he ignored them and said to Ulquiorra Cypher and the others, "You guys come out with me, I have something important to ask you." "Yes, Lord Moran." Moran took Ulquiorra Cypher to the top of King's Heights, found a seat and sat down, and asked a few people directly, "During the 3 days I left, has there been any change in this world?" Upon hearing Moran's question, Uchiha Itachi immediately stood up and replied, "Since you left 3 days ago, my lord, the world has indeed undergone some changes. There has been an extra organization called Heaven's Punishment. This organization appeared for the first time. It was more than 20 years ago, and now it is very famous in the sea, and the 2 chief and deputy leaders of this organization came here 2 days ago to say that they want to find you, sir." Uchiha Itachi and the others know that this organization must be related to Moran. After all, they all know that the era Moran traveled to this time was exactly the era when the soil of this world was 10 years ago. And this organization also appeared during this period of time. If someone says that this organization has nothing to do with Moran, they will be the first to believe it. When Moran heard Uchiha Itachi's answer, he just nodded blankly, and then asked again, "Where are those 2 guys now?" Upon hearing Moran's inquiry, Uchiha Itachi immediately replied, "They are living in a hotel in the city now, sir, do you want to see them both now?" After hearing Uchiha Itachi's words, Moran didn't intend to meet these 2 people, but directly ordered, "If you see them, don't compare, just go over and tell them, just start the plan. By the way, call back the few opportunities you spent outside, and then you can help those 2 people complete the plan." "Yes, Lord Moran." After Uchiha Itachi finished speaking, he turned around and walked away. He didn't take the stairs, but came directly to the edge of the high ground, jumped straight down, and disappeared in everyone's eyes after a while. After seeing Uchiha Itachi leave, Moran said to the remaining people, "If you have nothing to do, go to your own business." Upon hearing Moran's words, Ulquiorra Cypher asked with a puzzled look, "What kind of plan do you want us to accomplish, my lord? If you have any questions, you can go to those 2 people. They are the person in charge of this project. They know everything. Just ask them." "Yes, Lord Moran." Ulquiorra Cypher and the others didn't stay too long. After greeting Moran, they also walked down the direction of the stairs, leaving Moran alone on the high ground. After Moran went to Roger's era, the system directly broke through, and the upgraded system is no longer a single summoning character, but can directly summon a force, or designate to summon characters of some forces, such as Konoha in the Hokage world Anbu, and the amount can be summoned at will as long as the money is enough. Moran summoned 2 characters in Roger's era, namely Namikaze Minato, and Uchiha Obito, and 5,000 Anbu personnel. When Moran came back, he asked Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Obito to lead these 5,000 Anbu personnel to form an organization called Heaven's Punishment, and he Zhou was also given a mission, which is to spend 20 years, secretly collect all the powerful people who will appear in the next 20 years into the organization, and when he returns to the present era, he will immediately replace the world government and become the master of this world. On the surface, the world hasn't changed much from 3 days ago, but only Moran knows it. For example, at least half of the strong marines are his people, and many pirates in the sea are his people. These people adding it all up, plus his Wanjian pirates, it is easy to win the world government. Open black lens bracket time flies, 1 month later close black lens bracket. This month, the whole sea was full of wars. Namikaze Minato led the people he secretly subdued in the past 20 years, as well as 5,000 Anbu, plus all the cadres of the Wanjian pirates, tens of thousands of people without exception. People with a certain strength swept across the entire sea mightily, and took the world government and celestial dragons down from the altar in a month. Moran did not come forward to be the master of the world, but let the characters he summoned manage the world. And he himself took a few young daughters-in-law to travel around the mountains and rivers every day, playing games in the world. Finale. Thanks for reading.